Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to join the Republic.
Here comes the solo
As you
kill.
can see, this is the Soraka solo kill on the top side of the map. Probably the only time where the Soraka top actually looked good. Oh god, that potion was just straight money, Stress.
He got it at level 1. Like, he didn't even get level 2 off a minion. He just only had Staff Wall and just like,
yeah, and as soon as Aurelia had any more buttons than 1, that lane was straight up over. Ended the game on 1, 8, and 10. MakNooN did not have a great time, but thankfully, in the mid lane, Ling was doing monstrous things on the Syndra, as well as the Vayne on the bottom side of the map. Really hard carrying towards that late game stage, and also having an incredible laning phase. I mean, Vayne's having a good laning phase isn't necessarily something that you talk about all the time, but against the Ezreal Braum, certainly wasn't as much of a big deal.
And then we've also got to remember the beginning of that game, Janna flashed, lost all of her health, and was basically in a position where we were like,
but
well,
then they got
can
to the
take
lane,
over.
hard shoved, and made it to level 2 first. So it did manage to have the initiative in that lane, which is certainly important for a Vayne.
Exactly, and then made it to 120 CS without backing, and forced the Ezreal to get to
and then goes
90.
back and says, well, I guess I'll buy a Blade of the Ruined King and my Berserker's Greaves and head top lane and destroy the turret.
So, as we head into pick and bans for the second time, we've had a lot of target bans in this setup, because of course we had the Talia banned away from
and also we've missed out on so many of these massive power picks. We had like Ezreal, I think, as far as like the picks that were really popular yesterday. Things like the Xerath, things like the Misfortune, certainly not there. MakNooN, though, this time is going to get rid of the Aurelia. So EGV going to have to try something else to take down the Soraka. I wonder whether there are any other picks that can do decently well against a Soraka, Stress. What do you think there could be?
I think there might be just about any other top laner that normally would do okay against Soraka.
Better ban Aatrox.
As long as you don't pick, like, Maokai. I feel like Maokai kind of just goes, okay, you do what you want.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
So,
bit of a shout out as well. Your old mate Pulse has been playing a lot of AD top Soraka. Not necessarily in the same style to what MakNooN has been busting out here with the Rod of Ages into the Warmogs, a little bit more of a classic Soraka style, but
see,
certainly
I saw
the same
that he's
flavor.
running TP, so it's not really the MakNooN style, right? MakNoon's I'm going to run Ignite and then smack you.
It's also the full banana focus as well. Pulse opting into the full banana Soraka top. But that is going to be once again the Kassadin ban, and the Talia, of course, banned against Ling. This guy has played, I think, 160 games on Talia in the preseason, and like 16 of anyone else. Ornn is going to be taken off the board as well. Can't quite remember what the third ban was that wasn't Aurelia coming out from these guys in game number 1.
It was Camille.
Ah, it was too. Yeah. So Camille, certainly another option that could completely slaughter the Soraka on the top side of the map.
Yeah. Jarvan, I think, if they do go this route, makes sense.
Yes, MakNooN knows what he needs to do. It's like, yes, well, I'm going to get killed all the time, so let's just not have flash, because it's always on cooldown anyway. Let's just take teleport, get back to lane after we die quicker.
MakNoon's like, I'm going to play Fizz top. That's what this is going to be.
I
don't think it'll be Fizz.
Hecarim
could
top?
be Hecarim. Of course, we saw the
Shyvana top?
Yeah, could be any of these.
I think he's just going to go and play Soraka again.
You think so?
Oh, the Janna's going to be picked away, though.
I think it's a good takeaway. Dolan had a really good game. Like, so good that it was one of those, as Veki was talking about it, like, when you watch a great Janna player, like, it's spectacular how much work they can do with that kit.
Well, we'll see whether Rin's going to be able to make it work as well as Dulan did on the bottom side of the map. Maokai is going to be locked in. Certainly could be in the jungle, though.
You let MakNooN now do whatever he wants. He can actually pick just about
John could be taking that towards the jungle if he wants to. So still could be holding on to it for a flex pick.
Could be.
Might be going into the mid lane. Maybe that's going to be a mid lane Janna, and that's going to be support Maokai. Who knows, man? That's going to be the Alistair being considered here, though, as Dulan's like, well, if you're going to play disengage, I'm going to play hard engage.
This is a champion that has been played top lane a long, long, long time ago.
Oh, God.
But,
don't
no
say
more
it.
electric cow.
Are we going to, we're going to, like, hoof people and stuff like that? Remember, you can't get that cheeky auto attack in after the headbutt anymore, so the Trinity Force cow is dead.
Yep.
My good friend Jake Tiberi certainly was playing the AP cow, though, as the Shaco has been locked in. Very standard pick.
So was Pulse.
Oh my God, no. MakNooN
top?
is going to be playing. That's
that
the pink
gonna
ward.
be...
That is the pink ward style because he's got the teleport ignite.
But is it also going to be the AD Shaco or, you know, the old AP Shaco that we used to see?
This should be AP Shaco if he's going to be playing at top lane.
I think so.
And just put boxes everywhere and be super frustrating. That is going to be Draven, though, locked in. And Draven Janna is a real nice lane. This reminds me of Snake back in the LPL, you know, when Crystal used to be on his Draven and he had Ella chilling there, only ever playing things like the Janna, buffing him up, but of course has been rising to popularity again. My mind wanders back to the LPL times quite often. Going to be checking out some bands, though, as a Caitlyn is going to be gotten rid of.
I heard some interesting Draven stuff coming up. I think it was Rusty, who of course casts the LPL. I think he was tweeting earlier a little bit about Kleptomancy Draven, where you just run at people with your W on and get some spinning axes and just get that added damage and kind of crush through people, which could be interesting. Although I don't feel like Get Flacked and Ryan really had too much presence in the last game. So
no, they didn't. But they were. It was an Ezreal Braum lane.
Yeah,
I mean, do you ever have presence?
No.
I mean, all you're doing is getting behind Braum. You're not getting forward anywhere. Not really working. But Get Flacked now with his opportunity to grab something. They might opt in for the mid lane here. Keep that jungle/top a little bit ambiguous. Unless the Janna is just going to go into the mid lane and Spain are just playing with our hearts. But looks like it is going to be the tree on the top side of the map as Kha'Zix has been secured for John in the jungle. Yeah,
next best jungler gets picked up now that Sejuani was taken away. Obviously now doesn't give the crowd control over. I would like to see a little bit more crowd control come from a mid lane pick that comes out from Spain. We'll see where they end up going. Ooh, Azir.
Yeah.
Wasn't banned away. Ling Ling. I would quite like to see his Azir at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't been playing it a heck of a lot in solo queue just recently, but certainly is something that a lot of Koreans have been playing. Basically, in the off-season, what I do is watch Faker's stream just over and over again, and half the time he's either against a Kassadin or an Azir, or he's playing Kassadin or Azir, or whatever the heck he wants.
Or Azir.
Or Azir.
Yeah.
Or Xerath.
Misfortune comes out as that AD carry. We've seen Misfortune do some quite silly damage.
Misfortune, Alistair is also crazy good. Because, you know, level 3, you just do so much damage. And we'll see whether we are going to have one of those cheeky Doran's Ring starts as well, because Make It Rain in the early levels can be very, very oppressive, especially if you decide to opt in for the Comet. But there we go. The pink ward Shaco on the top side of the map. You will have to check out what kind of runes he's going to be running, whether it is going to be something like a press the attack Shaco, so he's actually opting in for the AD damage, or whether we are going to see Mega Box power, where he just sets up his box traps and kills people with his ability power, which would be disgusting.
There were a bunch of nerfs to, I believe they took some power off AP Shaco like
because I mean, of course, you want to make the game fun again.
Yeah. It was very silly. Not a lot of competitive Shacos in history. The go-to one I always have is Unicorns of Love in 2015. Once played it as a split pusher. But that was 2015. That was a long time ago. Well, it did win.
Yeah, I mean, it does win. It's just a horrible time. I liken it to something like a Garen being done on purpose, or even... Singed. Singed is another thing that's just classically unfun. It just seems like a MakNooN type champion, you know, where he's cackling maniacally on the top side of the map and everybody else is having an awful time. And we'll see whether he's going to be more successful now up there against the Maokai. That's just, it's going to be trying to do the same thing, throwing saplings in. It's going to be a box versus sapling battle. Maybe the champions won't even be fighting. It'll be their little minions that they just throw out to do battle against one another. I know mechanically it doesn't actually work, but Pokemon?
Yeah.
Really? Can you actually capture them?
Sapling, oh no.
Imagine that, if they actually had this little move, like press the emote button and they throw a little Pokeball out and like capture the sapling or capture the Jack in the Box.
Pretty sure it's that you don't want to capture the enemy box or the sapling, because then they like explode.
Right. And then how are you supposed to catch them all?
Yeah, well, that's true. You never could anyway. It took so much time.
Yes, you could. I did.
Took a lot of time.
It did. I mean, and that was back when there were 252 of them.
Now you got about 700 and something.
I think it's more than that now, Stress.
Oof, that's too many.
Not so good. But Actually, I had a little bit of a glimpse of the in-game chat here on your client, and it was just MakNooN saying sorry. So we are into the game, and I have a feeling that he's just apologizing because he is playing AP Shaco.
He has
on the tough side of the map.
Electrocute as his keystone.
Oh my god, domination?
Yes, he's gone Electrocute with Doran's Ring to start.
Oh god, so this probably will be more on the lines of the AD, as Tori's going to have a pretty negative surprise. As may have to use the flash. Make It Rain does come out. First spinning axe is going to land as, yeah, just feels a little bit bad, doesn't it? Because you have to take Q first as Kha'Zix, otherwise you can't clear the jungle, so not a lot of options as far as leaping on top of anyone. And Tori this time going to be absolutely fine, and Dulone's like, oh yeah, starting the lane with full health. This is the dream.
So a few to look at across the board when it comes to the other runes being picked up. Azir starting Summon Airy. We've seen a little bit of that. I know Faker runs Comet in a lot of his games, but obviously Azir just long range. You can run either one of them. Gives him a little bit more sustain through the lane on that Azir. Misfortune is running Comet as well, as you would expect.
Yeah, as you'd
on
understand.
That one, so you
Not
can use that
opting
Make
in
It
for
Rain.
like the full magic damage style that some of these Misfortunes have been doing, but does have the long sword there for the extra sustain against this potentially difficult lane.
Draven is running Summon Airy, as is Janna. So, interesting setup. Not the Kleptomancy, but obviously, again, added damage, a little bit of sustain comes through as well.
Yep. Okay, order is given here by Ling Ling.
He wants fries with that.
And once again, Revan is having a rough time farming things out, but it's the life of a Fizz, guys. We know exactly how that one works. And this is going to be his purgatory that he's going to be living in for the first little while. Those Sand Soldiers can be a problem. Yeah, that's why Make It Rain sucks, guys.
But I want to look at top lane a little bit. One of the boxes is about to get aggroed, but you can see how far EGV has had to stand back away from this lane because MakNoon's boxes just completely zoning him out. He'll hit level 2 off that minion. MakNooN now has the ability, if he wants to just start throwing out those shivs.
Yeah, you're going to shank people.
Yeah.
Shanking and boxing, guys. That's the aim of the game.
This is going to be one of the silliest series for top lane.
I just like how a lot of the references that you make to Shaco are basically like prison, you know? He's got like a shiv, which is kind of like a shank, you know? And a box is kind of like a cell. And everyone who plays Shaco probably deserves to be in prison.
Wow.
No, okay, that's not
I don't
true.
think that's fair.
It takes a certain person to want to play Shaco, you know?
It is one of the most annoying champions in the game, like to play against specifically, because just comes out of nowhere, laughs, runs away. And again, it's like we were talking about Vayne in the first game.
Yeah.
Like, it's always your Vayne sucks, enemy Vayne great. Same for Shaco. Every single time.
Absolutely. That's like, most common out of the jungle, though.
Yes, it is.
Where you can just have those Shacos that are dying to red buff at level 1 and stuff like that, and I don't know how it happens. But
yeah, they say, oops, missed the box. And they don't have enough damage to do it.
I didn't time my box right at the beginning. It's going to be okay, guys. So, a summoner has been executed.
I think MakNooN is trying to play the obvious bait game here into EGV, where he's like, come on, I'm so low, Twisted advanced me into boxes. But MakNooN, you don't have flash, remember? So you're going to have to queue your way back into your boxes and not take enough damage that you die first. Unless you're actually just playing like Suicide Shaco, where you intend to die.
Do you think that MakNooN might be playing on the back end like that? Maybe that's something they can go for. I feel like MakNooN is certainly having a great time. And picking certainly the champions that will be the best for the audience, maybe not the best for his opponents, or even potentially his teammates, as the Deceiver's going to get him the wrong direction. Now not going to be available. Good Twisted advance comes in as EGV's actually looking for it, flashes forward. There it is! Aftershock and the 1-2 punch. And he gets smacked by the roots and taken down. So once again, this lane not going super great for the old MakNooN. I
don't think MakNooN was banking on Bramble Smash actually knocking the box further away before it triggered. So the fact that the box triggered on a minion and didn't fear Maokai meant MakNooN just walks into lane and dies.
That's bad news.
That is bad news.
Well, there's the headbutt pole. As Delone throws down the Ignite, but it's not exactly what they want, because Tori had a completely different idea about what he wanted to do, which was farm.
This is a pretty solid Draven performance early on. Obviously, Draven does have a fair amount of damage with the spinning axes. Looks like a decent set of juggling in the bottom lane.
Yeah, a lot of chunk damages. There's the shield. Reven Just playfully tricksters his way out of there. Should be fine.
Yeah, gets himself out. Obviously still in a little bit of trouble in the early laning phase, but decent CS matchup for him. Ling is going to become a real problem later on if he doesn't get shut down. That's the biggest thing about Ozora is one of the champions that can deal with the likes of a Maokai. MakNooN tanking about a wave and a half of minions.
Oh, but does do some kiting into his boxes. Okay. I believe he had the deceive. Tori gets exhausted way too late. That is going to be the kill coming in onto the Draven. Now Rin. Okay, this is going to be rough. The stun is going to come down. Has the pole lined up already. Tori potentially in trouble, but is going to be able to get that health back. Everything should be okay. Okay, Ling in trouble. We'll have to utilize that E to try and get himself a shield. Oh, the fish was collected before the flash, and it's not enough with that barrier, and Wilder a little bit too late to the party. Can Revan get himself out? And I have a feeling he probably can. No Cataclysm here, as Revan will be pretty tricksy.
Where's EGV, though? He's coming in with a teleport.
Yeah, will we have the flag available is the question. Doesn't get the Q. And Wilder's going to have to turn tail and get the hell out of there.
Whew. Good play to start this out. Revan getting 6 before Ling meant that there was no Emperor's Divide to push back the Fizz after the jump. So, level advantage into ultimate, used it, gets the first kill from it, and even gets himself out. Considering that the last game there were a couple of mechanical misplays on the Spanish side of things in the mid lane, that is quite
it wasn't even necessarily misplays a lot of the early game. A lot of it was almost coming down to luck. It was very, very close to Spain coming out on top in a lot of those early trades. This time, they're actually getting the payoff that they were looking for. Of course, I mean, there's an AP Shaker in this game. There's a lot of weird stuff going on.
MakNoon's just trying to put his team on hard mode.
Oh, there's the electrocute.
Yeah.
You're talking about. Sick damage, MakNooN. Nice work. I think that little caster creep just did more damage to you than you did to Maokai.
I feel like we are in a non-traditional clown fiesta, and I say that because there's one actual clown.
I get what you're saying.
And we got a juggler in the bottom lane, because Get Flacked is actually doing a good job.
Hey, that's true, I guess. I mean, I hate the joke, but I like the idea. Ultimate is going to come out from MakNooN, but he's...
Oh, he's going to pick the right one!
Yeah, it does make the setup.
Run away! The cat!
Ah! Okay, there we go.
Illuminati boxes
did
not quite spell the end for EGV, but... MakNooN is just going to get WQ'd here if he stays under tower. And if the passive is up for Maokai, it might be enough. But then
fortunately, he needs his ultimate if he wants to get out of a Twisted Advance. Pretty sure Deceive not going to work.
Yeah.
You go invisible, you don't go untargetable. One of those problems. Revan now just going to cop some Sand Soldier damage as Inging has been a little bit out-farmed here on the bottom side of the map, especially after that kill, as there's the bullet time. Woo. And it's in fact death time as Rin is going to be taken down. Once again, it's going to be about Tori getting the hard carry in there.
Oh, the bug
no!
Oh,
Maokai in trouble. The Aftershock isn't going to land. And now MakNooN going to make his way back underneath the turret. And EGV says, well, that was a little bit too close.
Oh, MakNooN. Oh,
okay.
Good guy,
not
minion.
A lot of health
the block
on the old Kazakhs.
The box to defend against the leap. See how the angle goes.
Oh, so close.
Yeah, just cancelled the recall. Under the tower they go.
Does he have the ult? Is the question.
Manages to pick that
one up. Real nice by MakNooN. But it's a 1-for-1 trade in the end. He'll take that, though.
Yeah. It's his first kill of the game. He'll definitely take that exchange.
Oh, yeah. Revan now in trouble. Playful Trickster does come out. There's a slam dunk, though. And Rin says, I just don't think I will. As the tower falls down on the bottom side. So South Korea, after all is said and done, things were looking okay, especially in the kill count for Spain. But as the dust is settling, South Korea are able to get the push on, shove these waves forward. Wilder getting the kills that he wants now with the gank in the mid lane, and the bottom lane is just, again, a bit of a problem for Spain.
Yes, well, this game, Tori now 2-0 on the Misfortune, going to be relevant a little earlier into the game than the Vayne we had in the last game, which really only started to take off massively in the late game. Misfortune, this is basically the point of the game where you're like, good, one lethality item, I can build another one soon, and
I
I'll
feel
just
like as soon as that Serrated Dirk is done, the
Yeah.
second one, Tori's just going to be like, okay, now we can start killing people.
Point me in a
Well, he's
direction.
already started killing people. He's got 3, so certainly doing okay there. But Draven's still looking to try and cash in these Adoration stacks that he doesn't actually have a lot of, given the fact that he has fallen down a little bit earlier on. EGV should be able to protect this by taking down this minion wave. Spectre's Cowl there as well as his Balmy Cinder, so can clear out some minion waves and keep himself relatively healthy if the Make It Rain damage does fly forward.
Now I want to see
a little bit late to the top side.
What impact Dolan's Hexa Flash is going to have.
Yeah, true.
Because Alistar, one of the champions that a little bit more viable on, where sometimes you are just standing around in the bush and waiting for people. You can
like Alistar and Leona are definitely the ones.
Oh, yeah?
You can like
close that gap.
Hexa Flash, Zenith Blade from a brush. That's a good time.
Land that Pulverize, get multiple knockups. Of course, you have to channel it for that like 1 second charge with a targeting indicator
in a brush.
Yeah, it's a good spot to do it from.
Yeah, why the heck not?
Why the heck's not?
Oh, hey! Oh. No, I liked it.
I'm glad. I've been working on that one all week.
All morning. MakNooN, once again, down to about half health, trying to deal with this big old tree.
You think I can come up with a joke of that quality in one day? Really? Wow, you must be really good.
I mean, there's like, you say that it's hard to get that bad? Like, that's the issue that we're running into?
That's harsh, Atlas.
I mean, okay, good point.
MakNoon's
now
probably just going to die
struggling, going to throw out the ultimate here. He makes it.
Why are you staying around? Like,
oh my god!
Way.
Somehow that interrupted. The Ignite's going to be in there, and it just doesn't matter. Oh, MakNooN! It looked fancy, it looked fun, but it was straight up not working.
It looked risky at all points of that, but there was a moment where I had hope. There was like a glimmer when like half of Maokai's health bar disappeared. I was like, ooh, this could be the one.
All right, Tori. Oh, does make it out of the way of Whirling Death just a little bit. Dolan is going to be able to make his way in here as bullet time comes in. But Tori has to cancel it early. Yeah, all too scary. There's Big Cow making his way towards this Janna that looking to try and get her way out with the help of a Monsoon. But MakNooN comes in, wants to be able to get himself killed. Doesn't.
Into the fight.
As Ling grabs it, Dolan is going to headbutt Flacked back. And he's going to get his namesake. Tori was baiting him there, just staying out of range. Having that strut as well, just to guarantee the movement speed will be there. And Korea able to grab two.
Oh, but look at MakNooN.
Down on the side of Spain. Yeah,
MakNooN is on a ward. So they know he's there. He's going to box up in complete vision, Max. This is the top tier strategy. This is like the
definition of having a player on your team for comic relief. I feel like we need to investigate this as a strategy in League of Legends.
This is literally the gravity belt that he's put on is like, I'm making you play 4v5, and you will still win.
Well, he's now looking for the kill here. Will the Illuminati triangle come out? No, it won't.
No. Because, he tried to do the old bait and switch where you stand still on Shaco and you run away with your clone and then you deceive away. But they were not deceived.
No, because it in fact had no health, so they may as well hit it once.
And it was the type of thing where I don't even know whether if you had the Illuminati boxes, it would have done enough. Like,
no, of course.
I'm pretty sure both of them being on like half health, they're like, oh, okay.
As a play-by-play commentator, and it's, you know, MakNooN playing the Shaco top, you need to just be optimistic until he's dead. That's the way I look at it.
I think that's how MakNooN looks at it.
Yeah,
he's like, I can take this. I got 200 health.
We were just describing him as comic relief, so I mean, it does sort of make some sense. Stulon is, I think, threw out a Pulverize for no reason there on the ground, unless that was the ticking down of the stun, and I just didn't catch it. The old Trampolerino.
I was checking up on what MakNooN was doing. It's always the highlight of this game, but. Under the comic relief, they're like the rest of the Korean squad. Look really good. Like that's not a surprise. Of course they do, right? But
I mean, MakNooN warned us about this. Of course, he's like, I'm Diamond 1. The rest of these guys are either Challenger or Master players in Korea. So of course they're going to be able to do great things. At the moment, Revan though, 120 CS to 110. So certainly doing a great job for himself. Not quite getting out of the lane as much as Ling has been able to as this game started off, but certainly a good thing to have that Fizz getting himself towards some of these items. Proto Belt now done, now wants to complete that Lich Bane if he can get it for ultimate burst damage and annoy ability.
Speaking of annoy ability.
Yeah.
that heal just undoes everything MakNoon's been doing.
These minions are now like, oh, we're going to try and take down the Maokai. Just does
top lane engaged
no damage.
though.
Yeah, we got the jump in, but perfect timing by Wilder, and the bullet time comes down. Rin is like, I'm going to just accept it because it's happening. Not a lot that we can do right here, as the Rift Herald is going to come down and help take down this outer turret on the top side of the map. Whirling Death flies through, but it's not going to be enough. Yeah.
No. It's kind of like trying to bail out a sinking ship with a bucket and a hole in it at this point on that top lane. As Rift Herald's still very healthy, he's going to crash into the next tower as well. You can see Spain are trying to regroup. MakNoon's still pushing on the bottom side. Azir hasn't moved yet either, so there is a bit of an overlap when it comes to the numbers. Although this Misfortune is really strong. Still hasn't gone back to buy, but that second serrated Dirk that came out will give her just about enough damage, but good.
7 out of 9 kill participation as well this stage of the game, when there has been a lot of action going on everywhere, means that this Misfortune is certainly the point of power for the South Korean roster. Also has a gigantic amount of farm. Was demonstrating that on the Vayne in the last game. Certainly doesn't seem to change when you move over to the Misfortune.
Pretty much like 152 at 16 minutes. That's basically, you've only missed it when you've recalled or changed lane, is pretty much that. You basically hit every single one in the lane in front of you.
Now has a bunch of extra magic resist here as well, so just trying to deal with the fact that the Maokai is very strong, as well as the Fizz.
And of course, Edge of Night, you can pop that before you ult, and it'll take away the first point of crowd control that comes through. Get Flak.
Yeah, he would have liked that, I
gone.
think. Yeah, he's doing a dead thing. MakNooN also doing the Illuminati thing on the bottom side of the map. Now
Illuminati
doing
party
the best
down
he
here.
can to get his way out.
Aggro's
the blue buff just to get in the way of some of these projectiles. Doesn't quite work.
He's like, I can do this. I'm MakNooN.
Oh god, he did it.
He got it. He got away. Dolan was coming around from the top side.
I was ready for him to die then. But didn't
He's
happen.
died 5 times. Has he not died enough?
Well, I mean, this is the thing. So I'm now expecting it, and that time he didn't.
Do you have a grudge? Is that it?
No, I love him. I think it's fantastic. I think it's just the best way to talk about it. It's one of these things like, I'm resigned. As Ling Ling holds on to the Emperor's Divide, knowing that the Playful Trickster was going to be there by Revan, but not for the next couple of seconds.
I love that the Adaptive Helm has come out. Just so the boxes do periodically less damage.
And it works against the
EGV's just like, I don't know how to beat this guy. He plays Soraka, kills me at level 1, I crush him. I still don't get far enough ahead. Second game, I beat him in lane, and
look at this build.
Pushing.
Look at MakNoon's build. He's building a Ghost Blade so he can have extra runaway ability.
An extra runaway ability.
Runaway ability
runaway
is the
ability.
technical term, Stress.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Science.
Oh, look at him go.
Oh. Gets the proto belt to farm and deceives back out.
Yeah.
This is next level.
Clears out the minion wave. It's absolutely fine.
2018 season for you. That's how the entire meta is going to look.
Yep, you guys are looking at, the first weeks of LCS, LCK, LPL. It's going to be this. It's going to be basically MakNoon's Shaco launching its way across Summoner's Rift to a home near you.
You know what I really would want to see, hypothetically? Like a Legends and current players duo, like an All-Stars type of thing. Yeah. And they did that match like a couple of years back at All-Stars where one player had the keyboard and one player had the mouse.
Yeah, actually that was my last cast of 2016.
And I really would want to see, because I feel like they've got very similar personalities. MakNooN and Huni become MakNoony.
Oh god, yeah, that's pretty good.
See how that goes. That, I think, would be my favorite thing.
Huni would be so triggered.
Huni played with Kasing when they did it, and that was funny enough as it was. But MakNoony would be, I think, break the internet funny.
Yep, I believe so too. Monsoon's going to fly forward, but Rin, don't think that is exactly what you want. Has to flash out of the way, but Wilder gets the Cataclysm on top, and John, he might be invisible for a little while, but he's not invisible for long enough, as MakNooN now trying to get in here, looking to survive for as long as he can. Oh, the Illuminati boxes will be coming out eventually. EGV actually wants to get some sort of fight going on here as Flack setting himself up to get in position for some of these axes to spin through, but not going to get there. We're holding on to Chum the Waters on the side of Revan. Finally throws it in. Gets a bit of a guppy shark onto Wilder, who just tanks it up and is well and truly happy to continue sieging onto this turret. Not taking a heck of a lot of damage because it's not being looked at by Tori, and low range on the Misfortune once again. We heard Henning talking about it, the fact that their last composition, not exactly great at getting towards these turrets and sieging them down, but if you're all going to stand under it, Misfortune does feel like a relatively high-range champion. Yeah,
especially when you pop that Ghost Blade and just deal all of the damage through with the ultimate. It's a bit of a tricky situation for Reven with the shark from that short range. Ends up being like, you know, an Ocarina of Time where you do the fishing minigame and you give him like the teeny little fish and he doesn't even give you enough rupees to pay the cover charge of what you paid him. You're like, wow.
That's why you got to hang around till you get the groper, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always the thing. Got to get that golden scale.
And then don't you get those boots, like the iron boots?
No.
That's a different place.
Yeah. You can get a heart scale, and then if you get the groper, you get the I can dive for a bit longer thing.
That's what I was thinking of.
And a lot of people didn't actually even know that that existed for a lot of the time because it was so freaking hard to get that stupid groper. Because you also needed to get the sinking lure as well. We don't need to talk about Ocarina of Time strategy, I don't think.
Might help MakNooN in his
when he starts off his Ocarina of Time career instead. That double up almost looked like it hit him twice.
Wow. That is what Misfortune does when you have quite this much lead.
Okay.
Yeah.
MakNooN is going to get ganked. I wonder what's going to happen.
Try it again.
Okay. Oh, you cheeky little devil. Goes back to his Illuminati, but it's not quite enough.
But it was
a lot of time invested, and they lose a Baron.
Yeah, Baron was taken in the meantime. It was all a ruse from MakNooN on the bottom lane.
A cunning ruse.
The old distraction tactic. He's got himself that Dusk Blade, as he mentioned, and now looking for more lethality for the mixed pen, I guess, in some way. Like a little bit of everything.
I noticed that was actually a Dusk Blade that he completed instead of a Ghost Blade. Okay.
That's so that you can deal with any pesky wards. He's like, great. And of course, synergizes as well with Shaco's kick, because when you're unseen and then you get that added damage that comes through on Duskblade. But I like the runaway ability that came from the Ghost Blade idea. I thought it was much better. I think you need to give MakNooN your tips for Shaco.
Well, I'm going to let him know after the game. He'll come over because
he definitely is going to come over.
Yeah, and he was pretty keen on busting out the old Soraka round 2. Now we got the Shaco instead, so maybe this was just something that he just felt like playing. As Reven, okay, no setup time available. There's the Shark. MakNooN looks like he wasn't even watching, as we are at least going to get a fear onto Reven. My goodness, he's actually doing some decent damage, but the flash is going to follow through. Reven's going to be able to lock down that kill. Means this 4v4 is set up to be a difficult one, though, as South Korea are going to be able to grab a couple of kills in this situation. Reven unable to make his way back in time. Wasn't even backing quickly enough to save this inhibitor.
Yeah, and the problem is the Korean lead is so high right now. 12,000 gold. This is going to push right through.
These players that MakNooN picked up have just resigned themselves to a 4v5 each game. I swear to God. It's like, MakNooN, just try and be as big of a nuisance as you can possibly be. As Reven, really good timing on the Playful Trickster, but it hasn't been enough this time around. The second Nexus for South Korea is going to fall, making them the victors of this best of 3 and through to the semi-finals. Some would say that this was the expected result, but to be perfectly honest, Spain really put up a good fight, especially in the early game of game number 2.
It was a pretty resilient effort out of Spain. Like, you know, they tried to compete in the areas they could, getting the kills on Fizz in mid lane, as you said. Unfortunately, though, you could just see how strong the Korean team's like coordination was. Everything was like, hey, where do we get the next objective? Where do we push next? And there was just no let-up in either game.
And you saw, you know, Wilder and MakNooN having a bit of a conversation there, having a bit of a giggle. And I'm like glancing over, checking out how Tori looks, and he just looks like a machine. He's just ready to destroy someone.
He's like, next.
Yeah, that was just like one glance. You can see Wilder on your screen right now.
We have to
And they're just having a great time. Although Wilder probably wasn't, because he had to build a dead man's plate. He's like, oh no, MakNoon's feeding again. I'm going to actually have to have a serious build. Oh well, at least it does synergize with Jarvan's kit super well. So that's sort of fun. But still, congratulations to South Korea. They have top lane Soraka, and then a top lane pink ward, weird hybrid Shaco in game 2. They still managed to come away with the victory because Tori is basically a hard carry.
Yeah, he's a boss. I think carry. Like that was 2 real good performances. Ling Ling looked pretty good. The Azir was fine in the laning phase. You expect it to
but
be
I think
Reven
had a great performance as far as keeping up in farm on a melee versus range matchup. But guys on the desk, what did you think of the substitution of Soraka for the Shaco? Is this a different kind of cheese? Like you prefer this, aged Gouda versus the Brie coming in from game number 1?
I like cheese. I like cheese, but I have a favorite cheese, and it's Soraka flavored, and the Shaco it was interesting. I mean, I know you guys had a lot of questions. My desk here was very confused during pick ban. So, what were you guys feeling during the pick ban phase?
I mean, as soon as the Shaco's locked in, it's obviously like, is it going to go to the jungle? Is it going to go to the top lane because of Jarvan that can be flexed as well? We know that AP Shaco has been not good, but at least like something that you can make work for a while. But then AP Shaco got some pretty bad nerfs to it. And now I was like, oh, is he going to go AP Shaco? Is he going to AD Shaco top? In the end, it's MakNooN, so he does whatever he wants.
That was like, he was like asking me, so you think AP Shaco, AD Shaco? And I was like, it's MakNooN, I don't know. Everything can happen. So it's like, when he plays down a box, I think it's a bit unfair of the matchup that Maokai can just knock his box away. It's like, oh no. It's like when you build a Sandcaster, it just got knocked down. Yeah, that sort of feeling.
Yeah, it was, a little bit surprising, but we did hear from MakNooN early on that one of his intentions was to try and mix up the meta a little bit, and I know he really just wanted to bring something different to the table here. So do you think, obviously this isn't something maybe you would bring into professional game. Was it enough against Spain?
Obviously was enough since they got away with 2-0, and I think a lot of it came from his team, what they did on the rest of the map. We can see here the supports that I want to talk about as the Spanish Janna is getting picked off here. So we saw Korea play a really great Janna in game number 1, and why could they play a great Janna? It's because they had a counter pick. Braum was picked first, then it's perfectly fine to pick Janna. In this game, Spain blind picks Janna, Korea counters it with an Alistar and comes up huge. Dolan on support for Korea is my MVP for this series. He played really well, got a good matchup in both of the games, and Alistar versus Janna, they just able to punish the bot lane so hard.
Absolutely. We are actually joined now by MakNooN. MakNooN, you got a lot to answer for here. You guys did fantastic. Hats off to Korea for that, doing well once again. But strange picks, my friend.
I don't speak English.
Don't you lie to me.
Oh, English is so hard. Okay, not fun?
Yeah, you're great.
Okay. What do you say?
Why did you pick Shaco?
Because it's one of my favorite pick, in opinion. To be honest, I thought Shaco could beat Maokai, and can I say YouTube? In my channel,
yeah.
I had played a lot of top Shaco, so I thought it was good to pick it. But whatever I felt it, but I think I still have a next opportunity, so I'm going to show you guys the best AP Shaco or top Soraka in next game, hopefully.
And your team's cool with this?
I'm captain. They can't deny that. I'm just kidding. They like that.
They like that. Well, did you guys have any questions for MakNooN about the otherwise, successful strategies that they brought?
Yeah, I was impressed by you guys. I think the pick and ban was kind of so-so in game number 1, kind of better in game number 2. But who does the pick and ban, and what is the deal there? How do you prep the pick ban?
We don't. Actually,
is everyone just I'm gonna play what I want?
Yeah, I know. They just, we share the opinion. So although I'm the captain, I don't do that pick and ban because those people is better than me, much better than me as player. I'm just like the mentor, the teacher, like or something, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, we don't care about ban.
Okay.
Actually, yeah.
Sounds good.
Not too concerned about who to ban. You just wanted the heroes that you wanted to play.
Yes, exactly. I want to play Tarik top next game, I guess.
How do you guys feel about that?
Are you going to play like more cheesy champions and Soraka or Shaco? Which one do you like more?
Top Soraka.
Top Soraka. So what happened with Top Soraka? You're getting worked over early on by the Spanish team. They were giving you a tough time. Was that you needed more support for your team, or were you just getting in your own groove?
Top Soraka.
Yeah.
About
early game.
Hurricane.
You died a lot.
Because yeah, okay. Honestly, I shouldn't pick the Soraka against Irelia because Irelia is counter of Soraka, so that was my bad decision. But next game, I can't tell you the tactics, but I'm gonna show the best top Soraka. I think top Soraka is playable, to be honest, because I have 78% win rate in my main account Korea.
All right.
And also it's the Diamond 1 tier, and actually it works. I think I kind of nervous, so I made some bad decision or something. Oh, whatever. So many regret.
So many regret.
You did good though. You made it clear in the end. Did you guys have any questions for MakNooN when we have him up on the stage?
How far can this Korean train go? Are you just gonna be smashing through the tournament, or think you will be challenged?
We are the Korean. Do we have a reason to lose this tournament?
I don't know, like China good, Malaysia good.
But Korea #1. We're gonna make the final, bro.
All right, well, you know what? Let's put an exclamation point on that because that's the final word from MakNooN. We're going to see more from him and his team tomorrow as they face off in the semifinals. But for now, you get to relax a little bit. And actually, let's take a look at the bracket and see just how the rest of this tournament can play out. Obviously, our last match of today, we have Malaysia versus China. Going to be a tough one. Ozora, Veki, you feeling confident?
Doing our best. Try our best.
That's what I want to hear. And the winner will face off against South Korea, so we'll get to see that tomorrow. We're going to go to a short break, guys. When we come back, we've got the other half of our day here. Let's do it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe see you tomorrow.
what a bummer. You got the arsenal, you were gonna. What you want, drink, pina colada. I got a lot of dollars if you wanna holler. I got the llama if you want to drown her. I get panties in Atlanta. Yeah, I hit the club, this a hammer. Yeah. Hey, in the middle of the dance floor, you gon' get what you ask for. Look for me. In the middle of the dance floor, you gon' get what you ask for. Look for me. In the middle of the dance floor, you gon' get what you ask for. Look for me. In the middle of the, you gon' get what you ask for.
Baby, this all on me, something I can't surrender. Leave me in ecstasy and let you run through my veins. Baby, I can't remember last time I felt this way. The sound of my heartbeat rolling like thunder, running so fast, screaming so loud. Baby, I'm falling 'cause you got me blinded. Fire's burning, I can't breathe, 'cause I'm so in love with you. There are no words to say, making me feel this way. With you, be with you every day, making me feel this way. Baby, we got tonight, no, it won't last forever, so lift me into the sky. Riding this wave now that I'm with you, but you got me drowning, you got me drowning. I can't see while the fire's burning, I can't breathe when I'm so in love with you, when I'm so in love with you, 'cause I'm so in love with you. There are no words to say, making me feel this way. With you, be with you every day, making me feel this way. 'Cause I'm so in love with you, making me feel, making me.
We are back in Stockholm, Sweden for Join the Republic Community Challenge. We just saw our first match of the day, South Korea versus Spain, with South Korea taking that beautiful 2-0. Some unconventional play in the game, but very exciting, and MakNooN led his team, of course, to victory. Now it is time to begin to prepare to head into our second match of the day, which is going to be Malaysia versus China. It's a tough match, and we've been putting our captains through some really tough situations so far. Of course, our captain from China, Lovelin, our captain from Malaysia, Ozora Veki, who you've seen up here on the stage throughout the event. Britt, you've been testing these players with the Captain's Challenge throughout the week.
I have. So in this challenge, they had Summoner's Rift in front of them, and they had 5 images from the map that they actually had to place correctly on the map for up to 5 points. And as we've seen in the first video, they had a hard time, so we'll have to see in the second video if they actually did pretty well in this, but it was harder than we expected.
Yeah, this is pretty tough. They're tiny little map elements, like a stump and a rock, and, you know, Henning, we were talking earlier about how confusing this actually might be to a pro player.
Yeah, for sure. It sounds really easy, but paying attention to those kind of details that doesn't really matter to the game is not something that your average competitive player is going to do. They're going to be focusing on what matters, like the champions, the abilities. So these kind of things like the rocks and the trees might not be what you're actually paying attention to in the game, which could come to hurt you here.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they come in and they're very confident. They're like, oh, I've been playing this game for so long, I should know this. And then they look at it and they're like, oh.
Well, we like to keep the players on their toes here at the event. And, you know, aside from that, they've been able to play some pretty straightforward League of Legends. But why don't we check out the second part of the video that we saw earlier today. We saw them placing their guesses around, but this is going to be the final part where we actually score them. So let's check it out.
You want? Oh, I know what that was. It's with dragons, right?
Okay. Okay, next one.
Nope, that's it.
Ah, that's
There's
it?
5.
Okay. Maybe not the wrong, maybe it's 10 seconds. 5, 4.
There's no trees. Where's the tree? I don't know.
Okay, let's do it on the wrong.
2,
Here.
1. And time's up. You have all 5 on the board. Colin. You've been playing this game for years. You only got 1.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I hate my life.
No points. Number 1 is over here. Number 2, which were eggs, is over here. So number 3 is here. It's actually right here for number 4. Number 5 was right here. You did not get any points for this. It was a pretty hard challenge. It looks like you have 2 out of 5 correct. 2 out of the 5.
Okay, I beat Revan. That's all I did.
Britt, that was just cruel.
It was cruel, and I love how at one point it's just the captains competing against each other. Like Monk at the end was just like, as long as I beat Revan. And it's so funny because Revan actually brought the most personality to it. You know, he was cracking jokes the whole time, and it just ended up being fun for everyone, even although it was hard.
Well, it was pretty tough. Let's actually check out the scoreboard and see how our captains did. A pretty impressive performance there from Yoda on Team Brazil, Captain Monk, and Ozora Veki all at the top of the scoreboard right now.
Pretty close on the top. There are 3 people in the top, but someone who is not in the top, actually in the 4th place. Revan, how you feeling when you look at the scoreboard?
Well, now I'm a bit sad because I didn't win even on the challenge, so it's a bit rough.
It was pretty tough. How do you feel about the fact that Monk was happier just to get more than you?
He's a bitch.
The tension here.
Yeah, well, you know what? There's 2 more challenges, so maybe we can come out on top.
Oh, that's nice to hear then. Yeah. Now I will win him for sure. How many points he had? I had 4, and he had?
7, I think.
7.
I will win. Yeah.
Yeah. And don't be fooled, on the scoreboard it said MakNooN and lovelin had 0 points. It was only they just were not here to be able to do that. So don't think that they weren't great at the challenges.
Well, Henning was saying it's tough because a lot of players play with lowest resolution. What do you play? What are your settings like when you sit down to play League of Legends?
Well, I just get the shadows off, and all the other resolutions, instead of very high, I just get it on high. But yeah, actually I just put it the same way I got it at home, so I get the more comfortable possible.
Oh, that's interesting. So only the shadow's off, but still runs very nicely on those ROG Strix Hero Editions, I hear.
Yeah, it's only because the shadows are actually totally useless. You just see something that it's not worth for anything, you know?
Oh, that's interesting. We have 2 more Heroes Challenge, Captain's Challenges coming up throughout the course of the event. Any way they can prepare for these, Britt?
Well, I think they're doing what they can right now to prepare for the 4th one, which will be a showdown. However, the 3rd one, I have to keep it a surprise, so.
Please keep it a surprise. And of course, you did mention the showdown. That's something we can talk about, where we're going to fight to the death, I think, Henning, you and I.
I think there was someone on the Korean team who said, like, oh, I'm willing to die for this. I'm not quite that serious about this, but it's a show match with all the captains, and I've heard something about us 2 participating, which just feels really, really scary, but also really fun.
We are each going to assemble a team, in fact, Henning. And
oh, really?
I don't know if you know this about my League of Legends skills, but they are
So are we like drafting players?
Yeah, we get to draft players. And now is actually a fantastic time. Reventxz, I don't know what you're doing later in the week, but would you care to play on my team and definitely not his?
I'm with yours. But we also get Brittany with us, no?
Yeah, Brittany, will you be playing?
I gotta make sure no one's cheating here.
She's going to be hosting the event.
Independent, like referee, just making sure everyone is. Okay,
I'm keeping score. I'm keeping score.
Yeah.
You said you want to win. I've got to be able to watch it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we'll work this out over the course of the week, I'm sure. But I've been recruiting players all the whole time, so good luck.
Yeah,
good luck.
but anyone want to play with me? Come on. I need some time to think, though.
Okay, I'll give you time to think. I'm pretty excited for the Captain's Challenges, guys. You know what? Why don't we go to a quick break, and when we come back, we can get started on the next match of the day. Welcome back. Annyeonghaseyo. We are joined by MakNooN now on our analyst couch. And Henning, as usual, we have an exciting final match of the day coming up. This is going to be Malaysia versus China. China, an incredible region from League of Legends. Malaysia, up and coming, a lot of great teams actually from there. Can you guys tell me anything about the Malaysian scene?
I think they have a strong regional scene. I talked a bit to their captain here earlier, who was on the analyst desk. And while regions like Taiwan, like Vietnam, have perhaps been getting ahead of Malaysia when it comes to the international coverage that their teams have gotten, there have been more professional teams started up in Malaysia. So I think right now, I was told that there is 3 teams in Malaysia with gaming houses who are actually starting to get really professional with coaches, with support staff around the team as well. So I think we'll be seeing some big things from Malaysia in the future.
Oh, that's pretty exciting now. We were able to pull a very impressive team from Malaysia, and they're, of course, led by Ozora Veki, our friend of the analyst desk up here. Let's check out the video and get to know the team a little bit better. Ozora Veki, star League of Legends player from Malaysia, went to Kuala Lumpur in his search for amateurs ready to bring to Sweden, and he knew exactly what to look for.
I'm looking for a player that have shown their talents is like playing a game on a basic level or like mechanical level. Most important is willing to listen and like looking for improve, and being humble I think is always one of the key attributes for the players.
After a series of show matches worthy of the ages, Ozora Veki made his choice.
It was hard to choose my team because there are actually a lot of talents when it comes to the competition.
I think the reason why he picked me is because I have very good communication. I played with him earlier. I kept communicating with him and he actually likes it.
With his team chosen, the 5 of them went to boot camp with one goal in mind: to become the greatest team they ever could be.
Being here at the boot camp, I feel excited, and I think the team can be really strong if Veki coaches us, and I feel like the players have the right mentality and attitude.
After some training in the house, the team took to the jungle in search of even more skills. On their travels, they found something else: friendship.
The team has been bonding really well. Before that, we were all really shy, but then at the end, everyone is just really friendly, and we all became friends.
Team Malaysia bonds are stronger than ever, and Ozora Veki has the final say.
For teams that are facing Team Malaysia in Sweden, you are going to face a bunch of players that have no fear and just really going to go at you.
All right, MakNooN. Ozora Veki had some pretty serious thoughts about how he wanted to choose players. He wanted players that could communicate well and that were humble. Do you think those are good qualifications?
Yeah, I agree.
You agree with that?
Yeah.
And when you were assembling your team, was that a factor for you?
Some people.
Yeah. Mostly you just went for high-ranking players?
That's the most important thing, yeah, to me.
Oh, well, it's going to be interesting to see how Ozora Veki's strategy plays out here then, because it looks like the team is getting along really well. It looks like they accomplished everything that he set out for them. But are they going to perform League of Legends well? How big of a factor do you think it is just to communicate there? Because we saw Spain had great communication, despite the fact that they were not as technically skilled as South Korea as a group. They still held their own pretty well.
It's obviously really important, and going in with the right attitude as well, which is what I love from that video. They finished up with saying, like, we have no fear. We don't care who we're playing against. And that's what Veki has said when I talked to him as well. As like, are you nervous going up against China? No, just excited, not nervous. And I think that's a great attitude to have. And if they can get the right communication on top of that, I think that's a good basis to build on. China will be a tall task, though.
Well, I did know, MakNooN, you were talking a little bit with Ozora Veki, getting some sense of his options, bouncing some ideas off him about some of the champions you chose. What do you think of Ozora Veki's thoughts on League of Legends?
Who?
Ozora Veki, the captain of Team Malaysia.
Sorry, I don't know about Veki, sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. You guys were talking a little bit about Shaco. He had some interesting thoughts on that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did he warn you away from playing that, or he just said, your choice?
No comment.
No comment? All right. Well, Ozora Veki and his team from Malaysia have a huge challenge ahead of them. They're going up against Lovelin and his team from China. Let's check them out.
In China, team leader Lovelin gathered his team for boot camp, and for some, there was an extra surprise.
我们第一天来这个房间的时候，因为比我想象中的更大，然后后面发现是3层的，然后感觉每个房间都装饰的特别漂亮，然后也感觉特别棒。然后最惊喜的应该是开冰箱的时候，发现里面已经全部都被塞满了。
You can't mistake the respect players in China have for Lovelin, and he is certainly a favorite for some.
我来之前就是因为我之前有关注很多这方面中国国内的比赛，当时我看了很多关于我们现在队长林耀的比赛。
The team went for different activities, but even if some started on a good note, it would seem their plans weren't completely waterproof.
在上船的话，就船上就视野挺开阔，然后吃的话吃了一些点心，然后当时队长还唱的歌，就说实话挺难听的。
Despite the bad singing, there was still a lot of confidence in the team.
其实我不清楚你们到底是谁，因为我觉得没有这个必要，因为你们将会是我们的手下败将。
Wow, that's got to be pretty intimidating to be Lovelin and to walk into a room of fans that you now have to play with as your team. It's a pretty big thing to be celebrated by the League of Legends community. MakNooN, this is something similar for you as well. You are super famous.
Used to be.
Yeah, okay.
Still is.
Yeah, you're still pretty famous. Your team...
Yeah, better than Justin Bieber.
Better than Justin Bieber?
Sorry.
More handsome.
More handsome for sure.
More fat. Whatever.
But your team knows you.
Yes.
Knows you're famous.
Yeah.
Is it hard to play with people that respect you so much?
Normally they respect me and they think I'm really good at as scared. But since I quit the competitive, my skill is not good. Like last match, I just died so many times. So sometimes it gives me burden.
Yeah, it's extra pressure?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's going to be something that Lovelin's going to have to consider here. He's got all that extra pressure to perform on him with the rest of his team.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this match, Henning? Is this going to be a runaway win for China?
It definitely looks like it coming into it, just looking at the players and the regions, like what they're representing. But I think it's an interesting point there with China, with how you are having one big star player here in Lovelin. In the jungle position, it's really a position where you can control the flow of the game. You can do so much to control the pacing. You can go to every different lane. Like if you have your superstar in the top lane, you can't do so much. It's more 1v1 in top lane. But jungle can affect the map more. What do you think?
Yeah, and as a jungle role, it's a bit easier to make call-outs, I assume. You can see sort of where things are a bit more than everyone else. Is the responsibility of being the in-game leader something that takes away from individual play as well?
At what?
Maybe, Henning, do you have any insight into the stress of being an in-game leader and if that takes away from individual play?
It's been a big discussion with what position you want as a shot caller. So, for example, I know Reckless on Fnatic was a shot caller for a while on his team, but as an AD carry, being the shot caller, that's going to be a really hard position because
that's true.
Focusing on everything else other than your own play takes away so much attention. So I think having a jungler is just a good start.
Yeah, I think... Okay, to be honest, the top is not good for shoutcast. And in my opinion, support and jungle is good for shoutcaster.
Hey.
So I'm not good shoutcaster, honestly.
Well, you did quite well. You agree that he's not a good shoutcaster?
No.
Oh,
No. I agree jungle support are best positions.
But MakNooN is not good shoutcaster, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Are you?
Well, you know what? Speaking of good shoutcasters, we got two of them over at the desk. And guys, I want to know, what do you think about the best roles for a shoutcaster to play?
They play the one behind the desk.
Yeah, that one's good, where you're not playing the game. That's always good.
Yeah, we watch the game. We don't do the playing the game. But I certainly agree with both Henning and MakNooN that jungle and support seem to be the most successful shot callers.
Yes, exactly. Typically, that's been the case, basically, throughout the last few years of competitive League of Legends. At the highest level, we've actually got to a point now where teams are expected, all 5 players, to start talking to each other a whole lot more. So it's a little bit less of one voice. So at this level, though, a player like lovelin from the jungle, that's what you want for a captain.
Well, speaking of lovelin, we are going to meet our captains and see what they had to say to each other before the match.
Our next match features the team from China, led by lovelin, versus the team from Malaysia, led by Ozora Veki. Now, both of you gentlemen have assembled impressive rosters. What makes your team most powerful?
团结.
Oh, team power. That would make sense. Ozora Veki, what makes your team so strong?
Our team are very close together and we are coordinated. Even though we are losing, we will come back all the time.
And do you think that'll be enough to take out the Chinese team?
We will try our best.
How about you, Lovelin? Do you think you'll be able to win this match?
这个手势嘛，你懂的。我们现在已经迫不及待了。
You know this gesture. I can't wait.
Even though he's very intimidating, but I'm small, but I can fight.
Well, I can't wait to see this matchup. So, gentlemen, please, to your battle stations, and let's get this match underway.
Oh my goodness. Ozora Veki is adorable. Oh man.
Cannot wait though. If lovelin progresses with the rest of his team, if they would then face South Korea, a MakNooN lovelin interview would be, I think, my favorite.
Oh, that would be 10 out of 10.
Weekend. But they have to make their way past the Malaysian team, and Veki, you could tell he's maybe a little, on the back foot about this kind of.
I don't know.
game.
He seemed just excited the whole time, man.
He has.
He's been hanging backstage with us and stuff like that. You know, sitting down, chilling, able to have a chat and things like that. And this guy seems super relaxed, ready to get on the Rift and see whether he can smash some of these Chinese players. It will certainly be difficult, though. And look, I put my mind back, and I think I was actually commentating the last time lovelin played for OMG. It was a long time ago, and of course, this guy was pretty much with OMG for his entire career, and pretty much was the pocket of cool pretty much the whole time. And I don't know whether lovelin was the one doing a lot of the shot calling. When he took the things into his own hands, it didn't necessarily go super well every single time. lovelin's a hilarious man to go back and watch.
That's fair, but when you also look at the difference, right, when it's like, oh, are you the pocket for cool, or are you kind of the biggest voice on the team now? I think maybe a little bit different from OMG all that time ago.
We'll have to see what happens, but guys, we are ready to get into Champion Select, courtesy of ROG Strix Hero Edition. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Champion Select right around the corner, but I do want to now talk about sort of like where our shot callers are positioned oftentimes, and lovelin, certainly, I mean, all of my, banter aside as far as, missed Lee Syndrome situations in the past. They're certainly in the past, and he is in a place where he can control the rest of his team. The jungle's certainly really good as far as you understand a little bit more about what's going on around the map, all that sort of stuff. But Veki's now in the AD carry position, right?
Right.
this could be a tougher situation. We heard Henning talking about the fact that, you know, Reckless tried his hand at some shot calling. I know Prey is a big voice if we look over the side of Longzhu back in the LCK, things like that. And, you know, voices have been raised sort of just in general because communication is such an important thing. Do you think it might be hard for Veki to be able to get the control while he's trying to position himself?
Yeah, I think it could be quite difficult. I think the biggest difference is the fact that for Veki, he is likely going to be the primary carry for the team. Depending on how confident he feels in Toxic, his mid laner, it's likely going to be all on Veki's shoulders, so he's probably going to kind of call around himself. He's not going to be like, oh yeah, go top, go mid lane. And it might be the right thing to do, whereas lovelin, he'll be looking at, okay, which lanes are winning, which lanes actually need help, that type of thing. So that's where I think the real difficulty comes, is not being selfish as the shot caller saying, yeah, just camp for me, everything will be okay.
Well, we'll have to see exactly how this is going to go, because if, you know, remembering my time in the LPL, it was a couple of years, and look, Chinese League of Legends can be a weird and wonderful place.
Say, don't use that one word.
Which one's that?
Don't use the A word that everyone always gets tilted about.
I'm just blinking at him right now.
Yeah.
You can't see that. I have absolutely no idea what he's talking about.
I thought you were about to say very aggressive.
You mean Azuki? Because that's the top laner for China as we hop into Champion Select. Jace is going to be the first ban. A lot of aggression, a lot of poke. Certainly something that you do want to take away is trying to get rid of Gangplank. It's been sort of running rampant in solo queue very recently. The bank plank is sort of back with a vengeance.
Yeah, it's really annoying to deal with. The amount of damage he can just stack
and the amount of items he can have at 25 minutes into the game is a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, even can get some like weird items I was looking at. There are a couple of games where GPs were just buying completely random stuff and still doing incredibly well with it.
May as well. We've got so much money. But no Xerath, of course, wasn't looked at in our first series whatsoever, but is going to be banned away here, possibly at Wiki. Also, potentially at Su there in the mid lane, but not going to be a question that we're going to be going towards. Is Zoe going to see her first ban of the day? So you guys, we were talking about it yesterday. Champion Select was the only place that you could come to see Zoe. It's now only the second series of the day that you're able to see Zoe, as the Emperor of Shurima is taken away, complementing the Thresh ban from previously.
I want to see not It's Dolan, I want to see It's Dolorn at this point. No. Come on, let's finally have an Ornn.
Don't play the pun into his hands.
Nobody has been playing Ornn. Okay, people still thinking Ezreal is, well, it is good. That's a very quick Lulu.
We saw some Lulu bans yesterday, but I haven't seen a whole lot of Lulu hanging around at the moment. Wiki was probably pretty keen to get her hands on that potentially. But lovelin, oh god, going back to a bit of a favorite here. I want to see the Lee Sin.
I was going to say.
I don't know why you're hovering this one. Lee Sin, I mean, Nidalee was another favorite of his. Certainly had one of my favorite moments where he basically missed every single button and got killed by a Nunu in his own jungle. But that is not going to happen today because that's a Kha'Zix. And I think if you discover someone in a jungle, you're probably going to kill him. As finally Ornn has been locked in. Toxic is going to grab it for It's Stolen. And they do manage to pick up the Sejuani as well, one of the top tier junglers. But Jarvan being overlooked entirely.
I am so happy. We've finally
We've got the Furnace Master. It has happened.
Because so many teams have avoided Ornn. That's the interesting thing, is so many teams have had it available but just not gone for it. So I'm glad to actually have an Ornn to cast. I wonder what they're going to pick up in the top lane now, because you can ban away some of the matchups that do quite well into it. The Alawi that we've seen over in Demacia Cup. I know a lot of European players are talking about how Mordekaiser can do quite well
that'd be the
in
dream.
the top lane.
That would be the dream.
I want to see that in action, though.
Ryze is going to be the first ban here as we hop into the second round. Kalista was locked in for Inra. That will most likely be paired up with the Lulu, unless we've got like some weird return to Lulu top or Lulu mid, or even, God forbid, Lulu jungle.
Well, one of the reasons why Lulu could be a good pick here is when you look at that overheal meta. If we're going the Kalista route with overheal, you can get a lot of lifesteal. Lulu obviously gives you a lot of health with the ult as well, so you just get a bigger health pool, then a shield, and then all this kind of stuff on top of it. Makes it very difficult to kill a Kalista jumping around a team fight.
Yeah, Wild Growth also helps her out a heck of a lot at the same time. You can get that double knock-up if you go for the battle Lulu, throw yourself into a team fight, and then go big. certainly can be an opportunity. Probably isn't going to be the thing, but will be helping lovelin if he's going to be the one launching through, trying to get things going. The mid lane has been smashed a little bit here as Toxic not going to be able to hop on the Orianna or the Ryze, and Alawi going to be the final ban, actually, aimed against Azuki. Of course, Demacia Cup was where we saw the Alawi being the counter, like you were talking about before, so the Chinese team probably know that guy can be picked up, and if this Ornn's going to be locked in, then once again, that question mark on the Lulu is going to be on, and there it goes. So Azuki might be wanting that one for himself. You can imagine that it would work out okay against the Ornn, just try and whittle him down.
Yeah, I wonder whether this is like trying to flex Lulu to mid as well, though.
Yeah, could be a possibility.
I wonder whether Braum can do okay against Ornn in fights, if you can kind of like maybe throw the ult out, disrupt some of what Ornn is going to do. But he's got so much crowd control in his kit for Ornn that it's kind of difficult to block anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a perplexing team composition being built by the Chinese squad right now. Sophie looking at her final lock-in, and it looks like the mid lane is where we're going to be observing for that one, unless it's going to be an Ornn mid or something crazy like that.
I feel like at this point, China might just want to go something like Shen and say, well, we don't really care about the lane, but if we're putting Lulu in the mid lane and we're basically playing Protect the Kalista composition, then you can get that extra shield on top of it.
Just pick
Could
Fizz,
go for the lane
Lulu
matchup,
top.
yeah. Could very well go for the lane matchup or the Fizz. Might see other matchups that do well, the Echo, that type of thing, into Syndra if it is.
Echo is also a favorite, at least historically in China.
Yeah.
Corki
was tearing up the ladder for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
Got tweaked a bunch after the rune changes, just to make sure he was within what is
within parameters
called OP.
He does just benefit from basically everything that you can possibly put in, like, a rune. So it is really, really hard to work it out.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb how much he gets from it. And, of course, poke meta works very well with it. Gives them a second carry as well. Now you've got that later game aspect of a Corki.
Not to mention Electrocute is so easy to proc.
Yep. Hit that, the Gatling gun, and then auto, and then
you just basically Gattle, auto, Foss Bomb, and then just billions of damage. And that's always just been the trading pattern of a Corki anyway. But, of course, Toxic will have a lot of ability to poke him down, throw these orbs across the rift, see whether he can get the guy out of his aeroplane. But Azuki has actually committed to that Lulu that he insta-locked for himself.
At that point, it's just like, I don't care what he's playing.
I mean, it's all about confidence stress, you know? And if you're confident that that's exactly the champion that you want to be playing, which Azuki certainly looked like he was, it's got to feel good for the rest of the Chinese squad. Don't exactly know how much time they've actually had to prepare together other than what we saw in that video just earlier on. So we'll see whether they do look coordinated as we head in or whether it is going to be one of these question marks that we've seen from some of these teams here.
Yeah, well, there's still a lot of question marks on this game as well. I'm looking just quickly at some of the runes that have been picked.
Yeah.
We've got Fleet of Footwork on Corki.
So we're going Precision Corki this time around.
Going that route. We've got Press the Attack Kalista.
That makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense. But just getting us into the game.
Well, speaking of which, here we are, checking out the Chinese team as they load onto Summoner's Rift. lovelin going to be making his way out. We'll see whether we're going to get any cheeky invades and whether the Ornn is going to be as overpowered as we all know he is in this particular game.
Well, didn't buy items at first, but I guess at least that's one of the benefits of Ornn. Doesn't need to. Run to lane and get out there, buy him in lane. Who cares at that point?
Everybody else having the ability to buy super sick souped up items as well is kind of exciting. So
sadly,
we'll see whether we see any of those.
He actually ran back to base and bought in base again.
That's unfortunate. That doesn't bode well.
Yeah, I know. Probably because he didn't want to have to channel while the little home guard effect was on. So he's like, it's actually quick for me to run back and buy the base and keep running again.
I actually love this from China, though. This is the classic Chinese comp where just everyone's squishy apart from the support. They're like, all right, now we've got a tank. His name's Braum. It'll be totally fine.
Put up a nice little wall, protect the others. That's fine.
Yeah, and now Azuki can be like, now everyone's a tank. If he presses his ult on them. Genius. So logical.
So, as we get into a game that you have to think Toxic will have the advantage early a little bit on mid with this Syndra. We've seen Syndra Corki all the way through the beginning of last year, and Corki takes a while. Good Syndra players, that, you know, through IEMs and some of the first international tournaments, we really saw teams like Flash Wolves abuse Syndra.
This
so
is so
incredible.
cheeky. And he missed the Mystic shot as well. Ignite goes down. The heal comes in as well. Even when the heal was being denied, as we are going to have the Rend available here for Inra. Takes it out. Doesn't want to dive under the turret at level 1. That is a dangerous move. But all summoner spells traded for an Ignite, and now he's got no health.
Yeah, it's a pretty good trade for China in that bottom lane at this point.
Yeah, I'd go with positive. Lock that one in.
Especially with the fact that there's not going to be any sustain coming from the Janna, so you're basically relying on stealing any items that you can with those pilfered health potions that will come from Kleptomancy from Ezreal.
Also, opting in for the Doran's Ring means that not going to have those extra potions that a longsword start would give you, things like that. Of course, Ezreal never going to go for a start like that anyway, but he's not going to be the likes of Jhin, who likes to go boots, or Misfortune, who does like that longsword start.
Sadly. Well, I guess it's not too bad getting the mana potion from the enemy, because you can throw out more Qs by it, but certainly it's like, oh, wrong one.
Yeah, exactly.
Pick and mix to the lucky.
I need to go back to the Kleptomancy shop. Tell them, you don't even know me.
I don't think it's a Kleptomancy shop because you're just kind of randoming everything, right? So it's like...
Okay.
Not really
Suki does have the shield. Nice flash to get out of that searing charge, and it's stolen. Stuck underneath the turret. Oh no, sets up his own terrain and gets destroyed for it. Toxic immediately flashes, but now Loveling, a lot of the ability to get his way underneath this turret, tanks it for exactly the right amount of time, and that's what you want out of your captain. Calculation to get the first blood for his mid laner.
That was exactly what they needed for that mid lane as well. We've just been talking about how the Syndra should have the early game presence, should be able to control the map, well, get the kill early on, and suddenly it doesn't look so bad. But look at the pressure being put on by the bottom lane as well. This Chinese squad really outputting damage early on against the Ezreal and the Janna. No point are either of them full health because that horrible trade early on was well orchestrated by China.
Nicely done here by Veki, who's got himself back up to health and actually hasn't fallen behind too far in farm. And with this wave actually crashing forward, is going to be pretty even as all is said and done. See whether Inra is going to continue actually hitting some minions or whether it's just going to be all about the damage onto the support. Sophie actually weathering the storm quite nicely as Loveling setting up a little bit of a luxury resort around the mid lane. Oh no. Took the pegs out of his tent and he's going to move it towards the bottom side by the looks of things, get some farm going on.
What luxury resort is based on tents?
It's an old reference that we used to make to Clearlove and how he only used to gank bottom lane. So he said that he's got this tent down there. It's like a luxury resort.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
I'm back in China mode. I'm sorry, Stress.
No, it's fine. You can be in China mode. That's when you're at your loudest, I feel. Because, you know, a lot of Korean games, you watch your Jin-Airs, you get your 60-minute games.
Jin-Air is exciting now.
They are, but what I'm saying is you get these 60-minute games where you get like 2 fights at the end that are exciting, whereas LPL days for you casting was just like 60 minutes
I got
of non-stop
to be stupid yelly man forever.
It was great.
It was the dream. It was
good. I used to watch that when I'd want to get like hyped about something. Get like, yeah, I'm going to watch Atlas yell about Chinese League of Legends for a while. And
I do like yelling about Chinese League of Legends.
I feel like I could take on the world.
That's exactly what we're able to do right now. China, in fact, with a 400 gold lead. Stu clearing out this minion wave quite nicely, building towards his Pahage or Phage, depending on whether you want to pronounce it correctly or not.
Normally not, actually, is the best. See, in Europe, we just got used to lane swaps, which meant it was good for insomnia. If,
yes.
If you needed to fall asleep, you just pop one of those VODs on. And
are you talking about an LCK VOD now or a Chinese VOD?
No, some of the European VODs from like 2015, 2016.
Right, yes.
You mute it so that the casters aren't keeping you awake, and then you just watch people lane swap.
Yeah.
It was really
Thanks,
good.
Froggins and Nivea.
He was North American at that point.
At that point, yeah. My mind goes back a little bit too far. We're back on me being an old man again, Stress.
I didn't lead us there. Yeah. Not intentionally.
No. I'm putting myself there. I'm more than happy to do this. About a 6 CS lead on the bottom side here for China, and we've got Prochi getting down, seeing whether Sejuani can lend enough aid, because you can see pushed up quite far. Now going to be able to get themselves back. With that Winter's Bite landing, things should be okay. Minions actually helping out here, as Sophie does need to be a little bit careful, but Eye of the Storm going to help out for the moment. Level 6 now gained, but not a lot of mana for Su. Those Valkyries, man, they cost a bit more now.
Gonna sit as far back, make sure that you're not in range to get all in by Toxic. And really, I wanted to have a look, if we do have the moment, to look at top lane again, because it's a bit of an unorthodox matchup. You got Lulu versus the Ornn. Seems to be doing well for now, but really Ornn takes over a little later into the game. Like, sure, he has a great laning phase. He can walk up to people with the Bellows Breath and deal a lot of damage. You can see him forging his way. He's like, oh, let's get a Catalyst, whatever. It's the right kind of time.
What a jerk.
And that's one of the real strengths, is he can get this big experience lead and a decent CS lead just from sitting in lane. The only time you have to go back is if you're playing up against a champion that can actually harass you down in lane so much that you run out of consumables, because those you can't get in lane as one. You have to head back. But you can see he's gone for the biscuits, so he gets them for free anyway.
Oh, God.
He gets them every so often. He gets the consumable sustain, so he's just going to sit here and breathe fire and not quite get the CS.
Yeah, doesn't actually matter, though, because even though he wasted the mana on it, still going to get it all back. That Catalyst is going to help him out. But you can see Azuki more than happy, only 4 CS behind, something like that. Of course, Lulu not being able to be her normal, treacherous self in the, I guess, the form of harassment working out over and over again, because Dolan seems to be pretty comfortable, especially now with the sustain that he gets from that Catalyst. But otherwise, things should be fine. lovelin getting delivered a free minion wave. What is it, his birthday?
Seemingly, at this point. I'm just watching the minimap as Dolan is actually just sat in the brush, waiting for Lulu to back away. And then he's going to go back out into the lane and keep pushing it. Keep just push. That's all he needs to do. He's even using the pillar every so often to try and push further. That one wasn't an example of that. That one he's just throwing out at that.
There wasn't quite a minion wave.
Because trying to spend some of that mana, get a little health back, that kind of thing. You know, that old exchange.
Mm-hmm. Well, Forbidden Idol's now been completed by Azuki, so at least now he's going to have some mana restore, some of that CDR, so not too bad. See what he's going to be building towards. Looks like Morellonomicon will most likely be the choice, but Ardent Sensor first item Lulu top. Anyone?
Ooh.
No?
Well, I mean, you got a Callista.
I'm going to go with no.
No?
I don't think that'd be good at all. I think that seems like a real bad move. Well, package potentially going to be delivered towards the bottom side of the map as there's denied vision on that particular ward. Pink ward possibly spotted him out. He's going to head back towards the mid lane. Boss Bomb and Rockets set up to clear out the back line. That's always the dream. Valkyrie now going to get him in there as Toxic's in trouble. My God, lovelin does a lot of damage now with that serrated Dirk. Looks like he's going to go for that Duskblade first item type rush potentially. There's Dolan clearing out these waves, using that searing charge, getting himself amongst it, and basically ignoring Lulu and Pix.
Yeah, basically. Unless you can catch him with the pillar from the Q, you just charge in and get that AoE knockup, but then you realize that Lulu has her ultimate and all of her shields, and that probably means Lulu isn't going to die even if you do all in her, because...
Well, she's been knocked up and she's taking a hell of a lot of damage. Of course, yes, you're right. Okay, it does have flash, wild growth. Help Pix was there for the shield, but you know me, I'm a play-by-play. I like to get excited about damage happening to people.
That's fair, but you can see the next step of this is Dolan sits back and goes, okay, now it's time to build that null magic into the Negatron cloak in lane and just keep on pushing.
It's awful.
Who needs to recall? And who thought that was a good idea?
I don't know. Wiki certainly thought that getting in amongst that mini wave was a bad idea. Two-shot barrage going to get them out of lane. Braum Callista being shoved back finally by Veki and Sophie. Ozora Veki taking matters into his own hands actually here. 16 CS in the lead and already has an outright Manamune. That is fantastic. If you're not going to go back to base for a while, getting that straight up just feels so good because you stack it so much faster with the help of your auto attacks.
Yeah, and the other thing at this point is the Iceborne Gauntlet as an actual item. Well, the sheen into the pathway. Not so useful in this situation. Braum can block so much that really the kill threat is kind of low. You'll get a lot of harass damage down, but this Manamune is going to do a good job of charging up, as you're talking about. Give him a good amount of damage as well on the trades.
If Veki doesn't build a Trinity Force, though, I'm going to have words with him after this.
Yeah?
Yeah. I want aggression. I want anger. I want damage. Okay? Veki's now actually able to put on a lot of pressure down here, landing these Mystic shots, keeping the Callista low, and really struggling under here. And they actually need to be careful they don't just get poked out under here. lovelin just going to try and aid as the ward does spot him out, but that is just going to get them a bit of the leeway that they were looking for.
Well, the Ardent Sensor has been completed on Lulu as a first item. So Azuki's like, well, this game is all about Inra. So it's actually a really good thing that Veki is a decent amount ahead in the bottom lane, because they're going to need to put Kalista as far behind as possible. But here comes a little bit of a move towards the mid lane by both junglers. Nobody really wants the fight, though, because without that crowd control landing from Malaysia, if you can't lock lovelin down, he is going to just jump on you and kill you pretty quickly at this point. Got that Caulfield's Warhammer on top of the Serrated Dirk, so a decent amount of damage.
Yeah, it feels like it will be the Warrior Enchant actually completed before going for some sort of lethality option, as that's real wide on the ultimate there. Glacial Fissure not going to find anything, but Sophie's still going to be ignited. Flash from Inya is going to get himself out of there, but that's enough damage, and Prochi going to be able to grab this kill. Wiki underneath the turret. Teleport's being invested, though, as Malaysia are like, we want the first turret, and we're going to throw everything at it. They do so, but Dolan's actually going to cancel that teleport, leave 3 down there, and that is going to be a big lead now over to Malaysia to start this off.
Yeah, Inra actually just getting kind of caught out. Here comes the Ram.
Okay, we're playing some Pong. Actually bonks it back into him. Azuki doesn't really care about it, though. Still holds on to the wild growth. And yes, a whole lot of things happened, but Dolan didn't really do much that meant anything.
This may very well be one of the picks that could contend with an Ornn. Obviously a case study of 1 so far on this, but Lulu has basically stayed in contention despite Ornn's strong laning phase and then ability to trade later. I want to see the effect it has later, because Lulu, of course, won't really be able to win this game on her own. It's much more about getting around Su and Inra, adding to the shielding potential that comes through, but certainly Ornn can do quite a bit on his own. Set up a team fight very well for Toxic and Veki to actually get their damage out.
Okay, he's going to be able to complete his Abyssal Mask to start this one off, boosting his damage a little bit. Still going to be pretty tanky as this Ornn. Now moving towards the bottom side of the map. Understandable map rotational movement here. Nice work from Malaysia as well, just making sure that they can knock down as many turrets as they possibly can. And, man, Ozora Veki has just had like the best time as far as back timings are concerned. Goes back, gets the full Iceborne Gauntlet after getting the full Manamune. It's all just set up for him.
So this is an oversight at a Chinese team. At the highest level you'd normally look at, this would be the time where you're forced to bring your AD carry and support to match the 2v2 up on the top side. That would be typically what would happen, but you can see Kalista and Braum sticking around on the bottom side means they're going to lose damage on their second tower without actually really trading it back, because Ornn can clear this wave very comfortably under the tower. And look, the other side of the map, Lulu can't do enough to deny 2 of them.
It's weird, though, because I think that maybe they were thinking that Lulu might be in a unique position where she does have a little bit more of that wave clear with the Glitter Lance.
Yeah, perhaps, but the fact is that you're already on the second tower, and up comes the jungler as well.
Yeah,
so now they can push it down.
flash out of the way, meaning that absolutely nothing they can do, and you're exactly right. Yes, I can understand the thinking, but you're right. Straight up wrong.
Well, it's because of where the jungler can go, really. The fact that you're bringing jungler top, and look, Dolan is able to call in the Ram himself here. Oh, pull back, but we're up to topside jungle.
Oh, we missed the Pong section of the game. That's real sad.
Yep. Got the first half of it. Now we'll
Malaysia
never know
are playing this out so well. Look at this. They're like now heading into the enemy jungle, making sure that they're strangling everyone out, especially lovelin, who is the one that wants to be in there. And China is still working on this bottom outer turret without enough damage to get rid of Dolan there as well. This Malaysian rotational play is actually working out very, very well. And if you're talking about behind the 8 ball, you couldn't get much further behind than the first tower for China going down right now in a 2 versus 1 situation.
Yeah, it's a 3-for-1 tower trade overall because of the fact that Kalista and Braum just sat bot lane. There was no real way of them abandoning that plan. They had a bunch of opportunities if they wanted to recall up towards the top side, but they just returned to bottom lane and sat there. The thought process, I suppose, being like, okay, well, I guess if we get 1 tower, that's some gold for us. But 3 towers going down just because of how well the Malaysian team have played this early game section.
Well, Duskblade has now been completed here by lovelin as well. Actually did decide to opt into that before the Warrior Enchant. I'm a bit silly, I get overexcited about jungle items being completed. But boosted lucidity now done for Azuki, and if we're looking at power spikes, I guess we do have the Blade of the Ruined King now done for Inra, and we've got the Trinity Force completed for Su. So China, as far as being able to fight back, should be able to get something done. But with this map control that Malaysia have and the coordination and strength that they are showing so far, I'm actually very worried for China and their prospects moving forward, because now, if Malaysia, as they've already demonstrated, know exactly what to do, it's a matter of strangling China out of their own jungle, not having as much ability to see what's going on in the map, and being able to slowly suffocate their opponents.
Yeah, especially when you look at the fact that China have, while they do technically have 3 carries when you look at the Kazakhs, Corki and Kalista, a lot of that comp is built around kind of these prolonged fights later with Kalista jumping around, Corki able to do damage as well. Whereas for now, Malaysia are fine actually running more of a pick composition. If you can set it up with the Sejuani or the Syndra, get 1 kill, and suddenly the Chinese team doesn't look so scary anymore.
Yep, and now able to take down Harold here as well, most likely. 4 members strong, leaving their Ornn to deal with the Corki on the bottom side. This 1v1 might be a tough one for him, as the Trinity Force is, of course, completed. Wanted that last Sheen proc, doesn't actually get it. And see you later, Harold. That's going to be utilized to smash down one of these inner turrets. See exactly which one they do want to remove. But Malaysia's vision denial is working out quite well. They've got to get themselves into that top side jungle of China. See whether they can get rid of some things. But otherwise, clearing things out, you can see their jungle completely barren of any sort of Chinese ward.
All the vision to play with for Malaysia, but will they see this attack coming? There's 4 people heading towards the top side. You've got a Janna, but they've left it a little late.
Yeah, Fate's Call does come in, and it's a really nice Glacial Fissure this time around. Sophie in a lot of trouble. Good exhaust. Gonna stop Loveling from doing too much as, we got a big bonk to come in. Dolan just smashes them all around, and huge AoE damage. Toxic grabs the first one. Make that one too, as Azuki is going to fall down. Dolan picks up one, and they're spreading it across all of their carries. 4 of China's players are dead, and Malaysia have really head into this one with a vengeance.
Massive turnaround on the team fight. You've got to take into account Ornn with that brittle applied to so many people. In comes the stun, reduce the enemy tenacity. It just means you get stunned for so long, and in came the damage. Malaysia clean up, and with Rift Herald still alive, they're going to be putting massive damage down onto the structures of the base of China, and we're only 19 minutes in.
Yeah, this should be base broken actually, as Su packages his way back out, but Harold's still able to get a bonk onto this inhibitor. Dolan jumps his way forward. You can see with the shields from the Janna, he's just so tanky. Even with only 1 completed item done, Weki actually jumping his way through, but you can see the health bars from China once again really having a big problem. Low health bars now for Malaysia. May have bitten off a little bit too much, as Inra has a lot of damage potential. Toxic, the first one to go down. Make that a double kill. Could it be a triple? No, it's not. Azuki is going to be able to lock that one down, and now Malaysia, not a lot of options. Su looks for it, grabs it, and there's going to be sort of 4 people dead versus 4 people dead in back-to-back team fights. That is what I was looking for this style of League of Legends. Bloodthirsty, but that is still a massive win for Malaysia.
It looked like Malaysia actually were winning the second fight for a while there as well, right up until Inra actually was able to show up with Su and do a lot of the damage. A bit of an overstay by Malaysia when Dolan goes back into the fight for a second time, but they still got the inner tower, the inhibitor tower. They picked up a lot of gold, and it had been a while since they'd bought items. And remember, it all came from China trying to make the play 4 versus 2 on the top side. They bring Ornn to the fray, Syndra comes in, win the first fight, and get a lot of gold for themselves.
Yeah. Pretty funny though, only a 3,000 gold lead here for Malaysia. After all is said and done, a bit more farming being done, especially by Loveling there in the jungle. Actually, not especially. Look at that mid lane. My goodness, Su has been hoovering up their minion waves. You can see Ozora Veki still in the lead as far as that 80 carry off is concerned. Decent scoreline there for him at the same time. Yeah, money, not too much of a problem here for China, who's still certainly in it if they can get themselves into a position to win a team fight. Rapid Fire Cannon for Power Spike number 2 there for Corki. Always so easy to talk about Corki Power Spikes, because whenever he completes an item, it's a Power Spike.
Yeah. Every time.
Every single time.
It used to be for a very long time, it was just Triforce Stork shoes, and then you're like, we can stop talking about that. But then it's like, hey,
now you complete a steal item, and then you completed Infinity Edge, and then you complete your next one, and sometimes you can throw a Hex Drinker in there as well, and it's the dream. Absolutely fantastic. And I mean, the Kalista one, we've talked about that till the cows came home over and over again. It's always these 2. So the Hurricane is now done. And Inra is in a great spot to try and get these team fights working, but Baron being cleared. Thankfully for China, they do have at least a little rift of cover. Oh, a little bit wide. Su's going to get slowed down at least. Can we stack up the permafrost is the question. Wild Growth comes in, and there's a big game of Pong.
All right.
Okay, knocks it, but doesn't get it back in there. The Call of the Forge God not quite working. Just need to go back and play some Pong.
Yeah,
it's
a little
so
off
easy.
angle.
Like, you can just download one.
That was a bit more like playing, you know, the air hockey table, where you're like, I'm going to get it right towards the middle.
That's called real-life Pong,
I know,
man.
exactly, but what I was saying is Pong, easy, but hang on, there's another fight coming out here.
Yeah, Wiki's been shielded up. It's a decent look at the Glacial Fissure, but it's only going to be a sacrifice of his life, and lovelin, always lucky to survive, does grab himself a couple of extra shields there from Azuki, but it's all about staying alive here for China when Malaysia are still getting these objectives, smashing things down, making China pay for not banning On.
Still a few seconds before Corki here. Oh, they're going to catch that Azuki.
Yeah, it's not so good. Inra now trying to do what he can. Avoids some of these skill shots, but the exhaust coming down, the tower also leaving is a big problem. Scatter of the Week not getting the stun though, as Sophie very close to dying, but Veki just destroys the Callista, and now the teamfight potential from China has been torn asunder, as Dolan isn't even going to fall down. They've got so many low health bars. Veki, you really need to get forward there, man. You're the only guy with a health bar.
But he's also 7-1-4. He's been doing a great job this game of actually carrying.
He was
on
2-1-4 like 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, well now he's 7-1-4, so he's picked up a bunch of kills over the last few fights. That's an inhibitor now down. It's going to open up that Baron pit for the Malaysian squad. Lovelin might be able to pick off 1 or 2 if he goes for it, but he's going to cross through the minions. I'll see him coming if he tries to.
And it's going to be a suicide mission anyway, right?
Yeah.
Oof. A little bit dangerous. Makes me feel like, well, it's 2015 all over again. 2015, 2016. I don't even know. I put it from my mind.
Just
don't
erased
look at me
it.
like that. Don't look at
erased
me like that.
it completely.
We made the semi-finals and everything was great.
Back-to-back years.
Yeah,
it was
whatever.
good. It was nice.
Whatever.
Nobody remembers it properly.
I'm like fully back into China mode. Look at me, getting all defensive and stuff when last time I was all cocky about being Korea. Oh God, it was so bad.
Well, I feel like it was a little cocky to leave the Ornn open. As much as I've wanted to see Ornn, we saw the Lulu do an okay job laning phase. Why is that, of course?
But even then, not really, because you pick Lulu to be a bully.
Right, well, that's what I mean, is that it was an okay survival of the laning phase, but where I'm going with this is, yes, Ornn has a strong laning phase, but he has an exceptionally strong team fight phase, and that is what he's really best at, and that is something that Lulu hasn't been able to match up against.
Yeah.
Like, a Wild Growth is great, but not if your whole team is stunned and like locked in place for about 5 seconds.
And when there's like a 4-item Ezreal here as well, like look at that Q, just so much damage to Azuki. Of course, very, very squishy. Still hanging on to that timepiece as well, just making sure that he can get out of any of this damage that's flying forward from China.
I think the nicest surprise about this, though, and this Malaysian squad in general, is how well they have moved around the map. Like, really well. They have coordinated top lane pushes and that type of thing. They're going to try and catch lovelin here.
He's in trouble, gets slowed down, and that is a point-blank ultimate. You can't be that invisible, my friend, as Prochi's going to be locking that one down as well. Su trying to kite, trying to get them out of there as Glacial Fissure purely used defensively, as Malaysia are desperate for more blood here on Summoner's Rift. Azuki can't even stand up to Dolan here, who doesn't... He'd bought a Knight's Vow, just sacrificed any sort of option as far as the Sunfire Kate was concerned. He's like, no, may as well keep my team healthy while I split push, which makes absolutely no sense at all. But it still does look like this Baron should go down. Veki with his Blade of the Ruin King helping him out, doing a lot of damage to this big purple worm.
He's actually just going to try and cast it on the Ram as it comes back, so that he can... He's got a little partner over there for him. Oh, Toxic. Whoa, just as the out-trade.
Oh, dear. That's how you get on.
all around.
And you just get searingly charged. See you later, mate.
Well,
everything's a verb stress, remember that.
Veki certainly has led his team to a convincing performance. Considering it, we were thinking the Chinese squad was going to be the favorites behind South Korea. Like, this has been a great performance out by the Malaysian squad.
Well, I mean, you just think about the state of solo queue over in China and just the sheer amount of players they do have, but this Malaysian squad. I mean, I feel like it is largely to do with this power of friendship that Veki was talking about. You know, he was very, very confident.
The heart of the cards.
Whereas you saw lovelin, I mean, he was all about the "we will destroy you," which I don't feel like is necessarily as based
He's going to try.
Land, as he's just going to get absolutely obliterated as I talk about it. Exhausted and taken down. Su able to answer one back, but you can see Inra, he's going to be the focus. Good polymorph onto Veki, who does manage to trade 1-for-1, but he will fall down in the end. A lot of that damage now missing for Malaysia as China catching back up. It's a triple kill now for Su as he's looking for the penta. Flashes forward, that's the quadra. Are we going to get another one? No, we're not.
No,
there's a back coming in for Prochi. What a jerk. I just wanted a pentakill, man. It's not going to happen.
You got one. Oh, no, we nearly got one yesterday.
We nearly got one, and it got denied at the last second.
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness the Nexus died.
Empowered recall on the bottom side of things. Got Sejuani out. But a little bit of an overstay again, just as we give them the kudos, the props for good map movements the second time in the game. They're like, yeah, we're just going to overstay a little bit. Just hang around here. But Veki's got himself a Guardian Angel, so I guess maybe that was his thinking. It's like, oh, I'll die now, and then I'll just come back so I can't die again.
Yeah, should be absolutely fine at this point in time. Inra does have cheeky longsword hanging out, augmenting the QSS that he just purchased, along with those items that he already had, so at least be a little bit more slippery. The lockdown of this Ornn with all of that brittle business should be a little bit more easy to deal with. We shall see.
Just another interesting mechanic. Brittle. The fact that it's just like, hey, why don't we make another thing on this kit that's like, well, everybody gets locked down for 1,000,000 years.
Let's just add more stun to your stun. I hear you like your stun. Here, have some more stun when you stun.
It's just really strong. It's so difficult to have that in a place where it isn't.
He's also
OP
now really big.
Hell.
An Elixir of Iron is pretty silly.
And thematically appropriate.
Yeah, I like it. But this Cloud Drake just getting punished. Not a lot of other options here as China have been able to shove their waves back forward. So Malaysia are going to have to set things up, put China into a position where they're not going to be able to defend everywhere on this map.
Despite the lead that Malaysia have had, I think the one saving grace is the fact that Su, yes, picked up 4 kills from the last part, but Flame Horizon has activated
that's
on
true.
this, so it is in play from Su, 314 CS to 205.
And Inra is also caught up as well with all these minion waves crashing towards the Nexus. This inhibitor turret is going to fall down, but can they keep Inra alive? Will Su be able to hard carry another team fight is the question. They've got a lot of threats on the side of China, but they need to press the go button now. Inhibitor goes down. There's the Glacial Fissure as Ornn does throw out the big ram. Su trying to get out of there, does so with the help of the Valkyrie, and no one has fallen down apart from Wiki just yet. The big button on the Braum has already gone down though, so not a massively big deal as Inra trying to chase them out of there. And are the dancing shoes going to be there for this Kalista? That is the question. Turret is going to fall down. That's a Nexus turret as well. These super creeps now bashing down onto the structures of China, and I just feel like they've lost too much. Malaysia moving themselves over as a unit, 5 versus 4, taking down every one of these inhibitors. They're playing it by the numbers, and they're doing so beautifully.
Yeah, oh, lovelin actually falls right on the fountain.
Oh, God. Okay, the shutdown comes in now for Veki as well. All this damage now missing. Inra doing his very best to nimbly jump around, but it's just not going to be enough. Everyone stacks on, and the Kalista is going to fall. The last Nexus turret falls down as well, and that was a calculated game from Malaysia. They are going to be able to take down the Nexus, and China really on the back foot, moving into game number 2.
Well, we were wondering whether Veki would be able to do enough while coordinating the team and playing AD carry, but look, they got some really strong champions in the draft that allowed them to very handily deal with the Chinese squad. Ornn from the top side, and then Ezreal, possibly the strongest AD carry right now for Veki, gave them so much in both map potential and carry potential.
Yeah, exactly. That was a really, really good game out of Veki, the Malaysian squad, actually just surprising me a lot, to be perfectly honest, Stress, because that was just really strong, coordinated play. And he warned us about this. He said that they were able to practice together. They felt like the synergy was certainly there. But it's one thing to say it, and it's another thing to then perform to that level here at a tournament like this. And he certainly delivered against someone who is an incredible name in Chinese League of Legends history, even though he hasn't played for a little while. But lovelin was massive, sort of household name over in China.
Yeah, you could see how much respect he garnered from the rest of his team, that type of thing. So we'll see whether he can settle the nerves, maybe get into game 2 with a little bit more focus on team play as a whole, because it just kind of felt like the team from China just didn't quite have that to the same level.
Yeah. I also feel like the composition was a little bit greedy, a little bit disrespectful, one could say.
The insta-Lulu into putting a top lane anyway.
Yeah. It's like, I don't care, pick the Ornn, and then he did, and then they lost.
Yeah, I think that's getting banned in game 2.
Yeah. That's just basically how it went. But how did you guys feel over on the desk? You reckon Ornn probably deserves a bit of a ban?
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm going to leave that decision up to Henning, you guys. But I'm actually so excited to see this victory out of Malaysia. We've been hanging out with Ozora Veki, and my heart warmed to him. I just adore him after, working together with him yesterday. And he really was able to pull it together. So the first thing that we saw was some questionable stuff in pick ban. What were your thoughts as the game began?
I mean, going into this, it's on 7.24b, which is the patch where both Ornn and Ezreal got heavy nerfs, or not that heavy, but they got nerfed. Beforehand, Ornn and Ezreal, the 2 stronger champions in the game by far, bar none. No one is even close. So now, when you first pick and both are open, you're expecting to get one of them. So they pick the Ezreal, and China responds with Kha'Zix Lulu, giving the Ornn over to Malaysia again. So that was really questionable in my opinion.
Yeah, what were you thinking during pick ban, MakNooN?
I totally agree with him. I think they have no reason to give them Ornn, since Ornn is one of the best top champion, in my opinion. That's why we banned Ornn last game. So I never thought the Malaysia win this game. Wow, life is amazing.
Yeah. Well, you said that you banned Ornn in your game, and you also said that you don't even care about the bans, but you still found time to ban him. That's how essential he was to this victory in this composition.
Yeah.
Do you think this is a mistake that China's going to make in the next round? Do you think that this is really what they think was the issue?
We'll see. I think leaving Ornn open isn't the worst thing in the world, but I mean, one of the big stories there was that Ornn and Sejuani are the 2 of the biggest tanks in the game. There's a super big frontline. And on the other hand, you have Lulu top Kha'Zix jungle, so no big frontline on that side. What do you
We can say Braum is tanker.
Yeah,
he's kind of tanker, but not main tank.
Yeah.
So they don't have enough tanky, so they can't take the damage, burst damage, so please ban Ornn. I don't like Ornn.
Well, do you think it was just the champion matchup that won Malaysia this match, or was it their ability to come together as a team?
I think it was specifically in the bot lane, and partly because I'm biased because Ozora Veki is such a cool guy, but also because they have Janna Ezreal. That's not a lane that you're expecting to dominate with, especially when you're up against Kalista Braum. That's not a matchup where the Ezreal Janna is supposed to win. But they got a CS advantage, they got the first tower, they got to swap up the top lane and get the rotations going, so they had an objective lead, mostly coming from the bottom lane winning.
Now, is there anything that you feel like China could have done to respond to this better?
I think they could have rotated better, as we see here in the mid-game fights as well. I thought that China would be able to come back in these sort of mid-game fights because they have such an experienced team, but this is just a clean-up.
Ornn is broken.
Malaysia. Ornn is broken. And Syndra is pretty good as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple grand moments here where Malaysia chased down the Chinese team, but also it seemed that they were a little hesitant when it came to actually attacking into the base. Was there any decision-making there you feel could have gone a better way?
I mean, in the late game, taking it slow is fine with that comp. They had a strong late game, but China had a strong late game as well, so just delaying there, I don't see any big problem with it when you have an Ezreal that's scaling up. And another thing with Ornn, as if we haven't praised him enough, if you get to that super late game 6 item point, he can boost your team even more by giving them the upgrade on the item, which isn't available for any other champion.
Wow. Well, a lot to think about heading into this next match, Malaysia versus China. Anything you wanted to add, MakNooN?
Please nerf Ornn Riot.
All right, well that's something for Riot to think about.
But I know how to counter pick Ornn, so it's not my problem.
Oh, are you going to share with us here today, or is that something you're going to bring in the game?
I can't say that.
All
is it Soraka?
One of the counter, but not best.
Okay.
I have the best weapon.
Oh, we'll see.
I have a 95% win rate against Oren.
Well, don't ban him next time. I want to see you play against him then. All right, well, thank you, MakNooN. Thank you, Henning, for the analysis. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we have the next match of China versus Malaysia.
you take too long. Sleigh bells playing that familiar song. Oh, I can't wait for Christmas Eve, when underneath my Christmas tree there'll be presents wrapped in ribbons for me. So many gifts my eyes can barely see, hanging up my mistletoe.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Join the Republic Community Challenge. We are one game up for Malaysia in their bout against China. Not exactly something that I was expecting to say.
No.
Here's Stress.
No, exactly right. We were coming into this thinking, well, Lovelin and squad from China, they're probably just going to be the favorites, win. Yep. Maybe not an easy game, but kind of just look comfortable. Not the case. They gave over a lot of power picks.
They certainly did, but it wasn't about the power picks that actually impressed me with what Malaysia had actually brought to the table. That strategic play was certainly good, taking down the bottom turret, using the teleport in order to get there, even though the Ornn cancelled it, still was absolutely fine, made enough pressure, got themselves the first turret, and then snowballed it that way. They actually just wandered around, grabbed all the turrets in the outer ring, picked off the Rift Herald, utilized that to take an inhibitor turret on the top side of the map. It was sort of this structured strategic play that had got themselves the victory. And unfortunately, China just did not have any sort of answer that worked out. So, I mean, on the one hand, yes, Malaysia played strategically a great game of League of Legends, but China also just flat out didn't have any of the answers that you often do have to those sort of situations. We have actually seen demonstrated throughout the day and yesterday.
Yes. Now, obviously, yesterday we were at a very similar spot between Thailand and Taiwan, where we thought, wow, Taiwan smashed game one. That looked comfortable.
Yeah.
And then ended up losing 2-1 to Thailand because a complete turn of events that ended up with Taiwan being tilted by Zed.
Yeah.
Was basically what happened. And as we head into picks and bans for the second game,
hilariously enough, Thailand's small was actually a very big problem. And look, they found the Ornn ban button.
Ah, there
Thank
it
goodness.
is.
There we go. Sejuani also going to be taken away from Prochi as well. So China doing the classic China thing where they ban all of the things that beat them in the last game. Certainly is a strategy that I have been used to in the past, as Zoe is also going to hit the bench.
We haven't had any Zoe
No,
yet.
we've had heaps of Zoe. She's been banned every single game. We get to see her cute little face.
That is not the type of Zoe that I was wanting. I was wanting to see some
The
paddle
actual
stars.
Zoe. Yeah. I want Sleepy Trouble Bubble, dude.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
Sleepy
Syndra
Trouble
going to be
Bubble.
taken away once again. Actually, no, for the first time. So that is going to be all 3 target bans for the top side of the map. We'll see whether we go down the list as we get to the second round of bans.
Either that or they'll like take away the Janna as well.
I think Indra needs
or
to
the
be picking up
Ezreal.
the Ezreal. Yeah, I think that's certainly got to be a thing. Ezreal can also be paired with so many other different options as well as Malzahar.
Interesting.
Is going to be the pick-off. Of course, has seen a few nerfs here and there. But Azuki now considering that Ezreal.
So this truly would be the let's see if you've got anything else.
Yeah. Straight up what they're
by
doing.
Korea, by China. Is Ezreal, if it gets locked in, 10 seconds left. Where does that leave us? Jarvan for Prochi to pick up. That would kind of maybe force Lovelin back onto the Kha'Zix.
Got the Shurima brothers there as well. Misfortune standing out just a little bit at the same time. Speaking of Shurima, there's the golden boy. Mr. Chicken's going to be picked up there for Toxic. And Prochi now, The Jarvan seems like a no-brainer, given the fact that we do have Sejuani banned, but lovelin will be able to go back to the Kazakhs if he wants to. There's a few different ways that they can play this one around, or the Janna could be locked in if they feel like that was something that Sophie was able to utilize effectively. Shen, though, is going to be going into the hands of Dolan, and I feel like this guy is a fan of the old tanks on the top side.
Could also flex to support. We've seen a little bit of Shen's support, and we've dropped out of the lobby, so hopefully we'll be back in just
we didn't
a
want
moment
Shen.
to continue. Yep.
Sophie's just like, no, I can't actually play Shen support, guys. This is it's ridiculous. I know you got a master plan, but no, I don't want to play that. It's not what I want. I feel like, yeah, you're right. Shen's sort of been that support pick that's coming out of the woodwork at this point in time. We'll probably, you know, when LCS, LSK, LPL, all these LMS, things like that, when they start back up again, I feel like Shen might be making his way into a few of these games.
Yeah. He's also just so strong from Stand United's sake, again, as always, is like that shield plus global
and
ability.
Also, like, his ability, like, level 2 for Shen is crazy. You Q and then Shadow Dash, and, like, you can't trade back with him, and he taunts you up, and he gets the empowered auto attacks, and ugh.
And while he doesn't have too many lanes that he just straight up destroys, like, he can do well against a lot of laners like Nah.
Yeah.
You know, he loses the early game and then kind of just
Well, I think he wins level
later.
2 if he actually manages to stick around in the lane.
But everything past that, you know, is the range versus
real
melee for now, right? But then you just use the Twilight Shroud, deny all the trading, hold the lane, and then teleport out, and it's all fine.
Yeah, once you got your Titanic Hydra, you got a decent amount of wave clear as well, especially if you augment that with a Sunfire Cape at the same time, which is newly buffed on this particular patch. Does a little bit more of the old damage, and was also, it felt like it was just a waste of money to begin with. But we are going to hop back into Champion Select very soon, guys. We'll just catch up to where we were before, and then everything will happen once again. I'm actually having a cheeky gander at it right now, and nothing has changed. So
it is all the
it's
same.
all just going to go through. Ezreal, of course, the first lock in here. So taken away from Veki, he had a great performance on the Ezreal in the last game. See whether he has anything else up his sleeve, and whether he's going to go to something like the Vayne that we saw do so well in the hands of South Korea.
So it wasn't an incorrect lock-in then, with the Shen being locked back in.
Yep, I think Dolan's going to be picking that one up, though. Both solo lanes actually locked in here for Malaysia already. Theoretically, of course. Yep.
Always a dangerous strategy.
Oh, here we go. Lovely. I know that he can play this one. Stress. I've seen this one before.
Well, he also can play Cousins.
No, that's true. So you're exactly right.
Kind of want to see the Lee Sin come out, but...
Oh, this is cool. We got the Cataclysmic Entrance comp.
Ah, okay. Here we go. So leaving bottom lane completely... the Malaysian team right now for Veki. Picking up that Kazakh's jungle, obviously, otherwise it would have got banned away. Sejuani was already missing from the champion pool. And as you mentioned, Galio picked up. Very strong with this dive composition where you get the Jarvan, you jump in, you start the fight, in comes Galio.
Another one that can actually be flexed into the support position as well. Maybe not necessarily now in the preseason state of Galio, a little bit more aimed towards doing a bit more damage. Does like to get a few of those items in order to be a bit more tanky, but Xerath is going to be taken off the board. That Ezreal-Xerath combination we saw working yesterday was certainly revolting. Yeah, that's true. I feel like that needs to be followed up now with a ban on the Misfortune or a first pick on that Misfortune. Trying to find the Janna button, but they don't. They find the Jhin button instead.
It's very close.
Jinna.
Jinna.
Yeah. Not quite. Not quite. But yeah, Jhin is going to be banned, and we'll see what the final one is here for Malaysia, because there certainly are a few options, and something is going to slip through the cracks.
What is it? What else we got? The Varus we haven't seen too much.
Yeah, true.
Past our first series yesterday. But of course they would want to pick their AD carry. There's an Ezreal on the opposite side already. Alistair's seen a fair amount of play. Difficult to deal with some of those hard engaged supports. Ooh, wonder whether they go like Ezreal Leona.
Well, I mean, I feel like Leona and Misfortune are the ones standing out on the bottom side. Misfortune is going to be the one banned here by China. And now you're right. So Leona could certainly be the option. And then probably answered by an Ezreal Janna lane.
Yeah, deny all of that.
Yeah, exactly, which is a real problem. This game of rock, paper, scissors that we're playing right now could certainly bite them, but they are going to do it anyway. So Leona is going to be locked in. Hopefully it's the Aftershock. I'm going to come in and smack your face in, Leona, my personal favorite.
It also rounds out a little bit of the composition. When you look at it, like Kazakhs didn't have the doesn't have the CC to really deal with things. Shen, not great as primary engage, nor is Azir, unless you can get a super good combo. So now you just have that ultimate from anywhere.
Well, actually, it is going to be the Braum. So looking for engage denial. Leona goes in, then she gets stunned, then she potentially gets killed. See whether Eclipse can be enough to keep her healthy. As that's an Annie.
Again, that's the second Annie we've had this tournament.
Where's it going, Stress?
Mid lane Annie, because you can play Galio into Shen.
Yeah, okay, nice.
Yeah. Galio.
Sorry, when I ask where it's going, it's because I've been in China and
you
they like the top lane Annie.
Oh, top lane.
The top lane Annie from Looper. He was like, "This is definitely a hard counter to Nah." That's what he said.
Was it?
No, never was. Not once. Not even a little bit. And he played it like 3 times. It was hilarious.
Well, maybe it is, because look at this. Look at where they've sat. That's what you're going for. I mean, Annie, of course, has decent auto-attack trading in the lane, but Shen's great at stopping
Not anymore, man. I mean, that attack range was lowered.
Yep. It was, but she's still fine.
I just don't know whether it's...
Okay,
she now has a lot more uptime on Bear. So she is a little bit like, Annie and Tibbers all the time mode, theoretically. Yeah. But she's going to want to be holding on to that because, oh man, Azuki, what are you doing to
Maybe it's an Azuki special.
Well, I mean, he did play Lulu top last game. I feel like MakNoon's back in here.
Is Azuki like a support or mid main?
I don't know.
I'm playing top lane now.
I don't know. He looked comfortable on the top side of the map, though, as the Lulu. He knew what he needed to do. Actually kept the Ornn down relatively in the laning phase. Ornn, unfortunately, was still Ornn.
And outside of the laning phase, just kind of did everything.
Yeah, which is a big problem.
So we got Comet Annie. We've got Galio with Summonary.
I really like the fact that the music in the background is just a little bit confusing at the same time, and we've got an Annie top, and it's only making it more effective as far as my confusion levels. I'm just like, are you really doing this right now? Oh my goodness. What you can do now is you can create the playpen, the Tibbers playpen, where you set up the Cataclysm, you get a heroic entrance in there, you get a big gargoyle sitting down, and you throw a bear into the mix. It's the classic Chinese chaos-style League of Legends. And here we are under Summoner's Rift for potentially our final game of the day if Malaysia are able to come out of the gate swinging. This time around, though, China have put themselves together a better team composition, in my personal opinion. I like having the Galio, I like having a bit of a front line here when he pairs up with Loveling.
But then there's the Annie.
Hey, no, but fantastic in a level 1 scenario. Look at this. Loveling's going to poke his head forward to see whether Prochi's going to take the bait. Does so. Look at that cheeky auto-attacking Q. There's the flash forward. They get the stun. Prochi well and truly dead as Loveling's going to be able to grab that. Go back to base, get himself an extra little jungle item. It's only 50 seconds into the game.
So, first blood comes through for the Chinese team. That is a good start. Now we have to look at how that actually ends up playing out, because 3 flashes down. Inra, no flash. Lovelin, no flash. Azuki, no flash. So if Prochi hadn't flashed away, he probably would get a bunch of kills in the early game if he just revisited these lanes. Now, he doesn't really have the gap close without flash at this point in the game to do it.
But his teammates do.
Yeah. Taunt flash out of Dolan would be enough to be able to maybe secure that kill.
Flash Zenith Blade, certainly an option.
Yeah.
Once we get to level 2 for Sophie as well, our Shield of Daybreak certainly going to be helping out at the same time. Ozora Veki, still, I mean, it's not necessarily a Tristana of old where you get level 3 and you put the cheesy 2 points into Rocket Jump and insta-kill people, but it's not going to happen like that. But you still do have some decent damage in the early levels if you can use all of your abilities at the same time. Righteous Gust here. Righteous Gust. Oh, God. I miss old Galio. And now I'm getting all sentimental. Well, we'll see how this Annie goes up towards the top side. Didn't go with the Doran's Blade, which is a little bit sad.
No, a little bit sad, but as you said, the range was nerfed on that and all that stuff. But it does kind of leave Azuki in a very all-in position on Annie. There's not exactly a whole lot more that Annie does that isn't just surprise Tibbers and people die, but apart from that,
when you see an Annie, you pretty much know what she's going to do.
Yeah. Dolan fears Annie, though, for now, because you can see that stun is prepared
Yeah, stacking up. And also, if the cheese started at the beginning, there could be a cheeky lovelin waiting at level 2 to try and get some sort of gank onto him. Does, of course, have the flash. So things should be okay. Prochi going to check things out, see whether there's any tricksy little Jarvans. Doesn't notice him doing his Gromp, though, as we've got pings all around this map. And now Prochi's going to make his way up. Mizuki, again gankable, and won't actually have the speed boost here. Lovelin. Oh, that was cute.
They're going to miss each other, and the ward was placed further down the river.
In the night.
Oh, no, Dolan. It's going to be slow, but maybe he'll end up falling from this. He's got flash, so he should be able to Shadow Dash flash out, but maybe if they land it.
Oh, there's the combo that they're looking for. Red buffs there, and Lovelin going to be able to grab his second kill of the game. It's what we were expecting from this superstar, and finally, he's showed up. The first game, bit of jet lag, get rid of that one, and now things are sorted.
And it's
China.
Got a feel for Prochi, like, okay, I got the crab on the top side, I put a ward down in the river, everything's going to be fine. Lovelin sneaks into the river, over the wall, unwarded. 2-0 on this Jarvan is going to really help create that Tidder's playpen.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be a lot of damage that comes there.
The tip of the old Zenith Blade goes in. Aftershock's going to land onto Wiki as Veki doing a great job. Should be auto-attacked here by Indra to try and get that stun with the concussive blows, but unfortunately a bit minion blocked as there's the rocket jump back forward as soon as that wears off. Another Zenith Blade comes down as Indra is in trouble. Does get himself a bit of a shield, and now Sophie has to flash out of the way. Wiki going down low, but China are going to survive. That was exciting, though, and this play on the bottom side really shows that these teams are well matched.
Yeah, Veki has both of his summoners available, but it's Sophie that has to be careful. If she goes too close to the tower, it means that Jarvan's going to come in for the exchange, but yeah. Oh, Flash came forward.
Oh, that was a really, really unfortunate turn of events there for Wiki. The amount of auto-cancelling that happened just there shows that I think Wiki's used to playing on a higher ping.
Yeah, was used to connecting with that auto attack, and then being like, okay, I'll flash after.
Don't worry, we went through this as an Australian man myself. Once we got our own servers, it was League of auto attack cancel. You get a Vayne on your team, and they're like, I'm used to playing Vayne on 200 ping, therefore I never hit an auto attack.
Yeah, you try orb walking at that point.
It just doesn't work.
You're actually just walking like kind of like a chicken. Like, looks very awkward.
Might be why the game has just been paused here as well. They're like, can we add a little bit of a ping buffer, if that's okay?
Can someone start downloading something in here?
Yeah, please download something. Can we just get some Netflix on these TVs in front of the players or something like that? I don't know. That might be distracting.
Might be just a little bit.
Yeah, potentially. As long as they don't put on something that's really good, you know? Put on something boring.
Put on something mediocre.
Yeah, put on something mediocre, and then I'm not going to get distracted by it.
Yeah, exactly.
Go straight back into the game.
Because the worst thing would be if it catches your attention.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
if you just get frustrated.
They put on the new season of Black Mirror. I'm like, oh man, I'm so intrigued.
So intrigued.
Yeah.
I still haven't watched any of that, but I'm going
Really?
to. I'm going to at some point. I'm going.
The best thing about it is you can watch it at any point. Just pick an episode and go to town.
Yeah, that was really weird. Like you were explaining that you can just jump into an episode.
Yeah, just jump
at
into
any
wherever
point.
you want. No, you got to, man.
Okay.
It's real good stuff.
Because there's a couple about games, right? So I could just jump into those. Like we could.
Generally, it is sort of like set in the future.
We could just jump into this
theoretical. We could. We should probably do that right now. So let's hop back in. Toxic going to be wandering forward. That was a sick segue, Stress.
Thanks.
Nice work.
We can still talk about Black Mirror if you want. I had that as a setup. I was like,
oh, happening here.
I can go there.
I've been excited about that show, but never mind. There's, I don't think we need to be plugging any more Black Mirror here.
Their advertising doesn't help.
We're not sponsored. Okay. Indra Arcane shifts for no apparent reason there at all, just to get a little bit further up the lane, and then decides he wants to go back again. Veki actually ahead by about 4 CS, but there's a minion wave here for them both to be smacking down, and we'll see whether Malaysia is going to be able to bring the hurt.
Ooh,
like
what's Lovelin doing? Where is he? He's jumping onto that Azir.
Cheeky devil.
Juking our observers. I was like, oh, something's happening.
Yeah, no.
Turns out, nope.
Not this time. Prochi's made his way back in. But, Winds of War are there. Good Justice Punch. Does a bit more damage now as Colossal Smash comes in, follow it up. I used the phrase colossally smashed once.
Yeah?
It wasn't good.
I used a really bad joke about Galio once, and I'm going to use it again. He's the worst person to have at a party Especially if you ask him to do the beverages.
Why is that?
Because his punch is just ice.
Oh, that's really good. That's like
there's some play-by-play.
Oh, I like it. Well, Approach is going
away.
to survive this one. As Stand United is going to come in and protect Toxic. He's trying his best to close the gap onto Su, but he's pretty tanky at this point. And Loveling just going to wander past the Sand Soldiers. They look on in dismay as he flag and drags his way out of there. He's going to take the river exit, and no one is going to die. You said there was going to be some play-by-play. No one died. It's fine.
Oh, yeah, I know. Oh, hang on.
From Prochi.
No, he's okay. He regened off W, but...
Use the smite there as well, which is going to help him get a bit of that health back. But
everything in combination, get it together.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I killed Pyro with that joke when I used it a few months back. He was like, I'm never talking to you again. I love bad jokes, though. Bad jokes are great jokes.
I think that's why we've got some synergy here, Stress.
Bad jokes, I'm going to talk only for myself here. Bad jokes are for unfunny people to try and be funny. Because you're like, yeah, I already know I'm not funny, so I'm just going to purposefully
Or you can
make
like,
a mess of things.
you can see it as like a challenge as well. You know, if you can make someone laugh by telling a bad joke, it means you've got decent delivery.
That's fair. Get the worst possible joke over. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it doesn't often work anyway. 1,000 gold though the lead here for China. And after what hurt Loveling has been able to put down onto these Malaysian opponents of his, certainly is understandable. Now with a serrated Dirk already done, Loveling's going full beast mode on this job, and Azuki takes about half of his health bar here by just tanking up a minion wave, and Dolan's just going to head back home with a bit of a CS advantage and grab himself a few of these items. Balmy Cinder might be the option here, but no, it's actually going to be the Spectre's Cowl. May build into a Tiamat now, or might just go full tank Shen.
I think that would probably be one of the better ways to go. The reason being is because there's not going to be all that much tankiness if indeed Lovelin is going for like the Duskblade setup on Jarvan that we've seen. We saw that happen yesterday, and just Jarvan died instantly.
Yeah,
every single time he jumped in. Because, okay, in this setup, yes, you'll have the Galio damage reduction coming through, but if you're not tanky at all, then you're still taking a lot of damage. It's just slightly reduced.
Yeah. At this point in time, though, you can see Su's actually 11 CS ahead up against Toxic, having a great performance here on this Galio, despite, you know, we've been talking about melee versus range quite often. And Veki now putting himself into harm's way, but does get out of the range of concussive blows to make anything happen. Nice double tap there on the ultimate, but Wiki now in trouble. Zenith's Blade does bring Sophie back in. Good flash to get out of the way of any stun potential as the flash forward comes in. Oh, the calculation on the buster shot. And Veki's going to be able to lock that one down. In goes Loveling. Heroic entrance is going to come down as well. It's now a 4 versus 2, but they're going to split them off. They need to try and get something somewhere, but they make it back to their team. Now going to be a 5 versus 4 theoretically as the bear is brought down. Sophie should fall as the taunt does come in. Good flash in with that the taunt that comes down from the Galio. Emperor's Divide, lots of damage, and Loveling's going to bring the massive dunk to secure the kill onto the Birdman. Malaysia, they do manage to get one of these kills, but they do lose out 2 in the end.
That was initially really good escape from Veki, the way he jumped past the Jarvan instead of getting caught out. It looked like the Malaysian squad actually was out scot-free. It looked like they weren't going to lose anybody else, but the teleport to commit from Dolan, I didn't see whether Stand United, I think it was available, right? It's available now, and I don't believe he's used it yet, so actually opting to just teleport rather than use that ultimate. The recommit was the problem, because they had already basically created enough distance to get out and put themselves in a 4-man stack against 3 people, but interesting re-engage. Leaves Veki, one of the only members of his team, still alive.
Well, it did make some sense, you know? I mean, they managed to get the pick off onto Inra, so they thought that they'd have the man advantage, they'd be able to make it work, but China really did have the coordination with all of that AoE burst, and put Tivers in there makes it feel like there is an extra person trying to smack you down. Speaking of which, Zuki doing okay, has himself a Haunting Guise this time around, trying to build towards that Burning Face for even more fire. I like it. On brand.
It's there, though. The Duskblade of
Drakthar. Oh,
yeah.
God, Loveling. What a monster.
He's like, I'm just going to keep killing people, because if I kill people enough, we'll win this game.
Yeah,
that's his theory.
100% kill participation certainly seems to be his idea.
Seems like a good plan. to have for lovelin at this point. He's like, okay, I tried the whole I'll support a little bit. Now he's going for that. I'm just going to kill everybody.
I mean, was he supporting a little bit? He was playing Kazakhs.
Yeah, true. Well, he wasn't doing a lot of killing in the last game.
No, he
wasn't.
Was he was doing a lot of dying, though.
Maybe more of just the leadership aspects of it.
Yeah, I like it.
Support Kazakhs.
So, clearing things up with the winds of war. And Prochi moving his way towards that top side. Spotted out by a ward, though, so Azuki, no joy. Now Su clearing out vision there as well. China not necessarily playing this out the way that Malaysia were able to play out the last one, though. They're leaving the turrets up and then just trying to get kills, utilizing the fact that they are further ahead, given their earlier kills in this game. lovelin really taking control this time around, now looking for this steal onto the blue buff. Prochi's going to walk in, though, and the heroic entrance is going to mean that he's going to get the hell back out again.
It's a big ult used, though, that cooldown. The damage reduction no longer going to be available for the next fight, and here is a bit of a skirmish. Stand United used.
Yeah, Veki's going to move his way forward there as well. True Shot Barrage comes down. Really nice Glacial Fissure to start off the battle, and low health bars now on Malaysia, but they do have the man advantage. Toxic looking for a way to weave his way forward.
Got
there
two!
It is! The double boot back, and Prochi immediately going to be able to clean up the Braum. We've got the resets. Now flying forward is Inra. He really wants the kill, but doesn't get it onto Sophie. The Eclipse is going to be enough damage reduction, and Malaysia are now back. They've evened out the kills, and the gold is only 1,000. They may even be able to augment this one with a pickup on this dragon, but it could be a little bit dangerous. We've got a big bear ready to jump down, and Azuki doesn't have flash, but does have a full health bar.
Yeah, that's the problem there is no flash to actually close that distance. If flash was available, that almost certainly would have been a two-person stun coming from that. lovelin is confident that he wants the dragon, but he is quite low health after trading with it for a while, so has to fall back away. That was a good fight to turn that back around, and it all came from the fact that Galio used his ultimate very early on just to secure the blue buff. That was what that trade initially was for, trying to keep lovelin alive, trying to keep that blue buff on the side of the Chinese team, but
it wasn't necessary
enough.
Though, because I mean, otherwise Prochi probably would have killed him, given just how
true.
Kazakhs works if he finds someone alone.
That's true, but then you end up committing to that fight very early on and up against the Shen. Yeah. It's that whole move into the jungle that actually just puts the rest of the Chinese team on the back foot.
Well, Inra, in pure Chinese fashion, he's going to do exactly what I wanted Veki to do last game and pick up that Trinity Force. He's going to be stacking the tier on its own until that Triforce is done. It's a bit of a taste of Ezreal of old. I like it a lot. See whether China are going to be able to reconsolidate after what was not exactly the team fight that they were looking for. Static Shiv is now completed here for Veki at the same time, so this wave clear is huge from the Tristana. Should mean that this push will just keep on going. And they've just got an engage button. Sophie's sitting there, does have the solar flare, can just tear them out if he needs to and start off this fight whenever he wants. So Prochi might spend some time down towards the bottom side of the map, just with the fact that when you have a free go button, and you go back to solo queue, you're like looking through, you're like, yeah, this one's doable.
Yep. Just doable. Oh, can they get... Are they even going to go for it? I don't think you want this. You're just going to push the tower back away. No reason to go all that aggressive because you don't know where lovelin is right now.
Yeah.
So at this point, not exactly the full commit, which means we're back to a bit of a stalemate.
Which is probably suiting Malaysia here at this particular point in time, because they were sort of on catch-up mode ever since that level 1 play that China were able to utilize. And so if you're lagging a little bit there.
Somebody started that download.
Yeah. Okay, lovelin wanted it. He's going to flag and drag his way forward. Teleport actually comes in from Stu at the same time. That is the most hectic force I've ever seen in my entire life.
Wow.
There's Dolan, okay, just going to be doing battle with a bear now.
So I went back and I checked. Stu was actually sat just by mid lane. That was like a panic, like, oh, they're going to engage, go, go, go. So a little bit of a overcommit once again with the Galio. Luckily does have the ultimate again. Here comes the fight onto Inra.
What was that? Sophie just wanders past, doesn't get hit by anything as Inra's in a whole lot of trouble. Veki gets Cataclysm, and it's a really good solar flare to play defense on the back line. The shutdown comes in. True Shot Barrage does nothing, and Su is going to turn up but actually take a whole bunch of damage.
Oh, again!
Massive 3-man Emperor's Divide, and that's going to secure a double kill for him, and Su should be falling down. Malaysia, such an incredible team fight, and these guys so good at getting themselves back together after what was a woeful early game.
It's a very similar fight to the last one, where initially we have this perhaps miscommunication on team play using the globals very early on to bring them into the fight, so it ends up that you're kind of not getting the whole benefit from everything. This time, however, Galio ult was used to get midway through the fight, but lovelin had already jumped right into the backline, was trying to kill Veki, but the fact that he's got Duskblade leaves him so vulnerable to any kind of damage, and the Jarvan just cannot survive, even now going Warrior Enchant on top of it. lovelin is going double or nothing, like basically glass cannon Jarvan here to try and win this game. It's kill Veki and hope that Toxic can't do enough, or basically China might end up losing this game.
I just want to shout out to Sophie, though, because that solar flare decision-making process, oftentimes if you're a Leona player, right? Oh no, lovelin. He missed the blast cone. Never mind, let's not focus on that. But when you're playing Leona, what you want to use that the ultimate for is to try and get that big, like, 3-4-man solar flare that can really turn a team fight around. But what she decided to go with was to protect her AD carry, make sure that lovelin couldn't do anything. The rest of the team gets behind that decision. They clean out the Jarvan that was most of the money on the side of China, and then they just play it forward slowly but surely and pick off target after target. I just feel like the communication from Malaysia has been heads and shoulders above what China have shown us so far today.
Definitely. It really has. And I think that is going to be a surprisingly large strength for this Malaysia team if they do make it out. However,
good flash.
Good flash out. One thing that we're probably going to see is Sophie might be using a defensive solar flare, but that's an aggressive one for now.
Yeah, and Azuki's going to certainly bear the brunt of that one. There's a big angry bear, but he's not going to be able to do enough. And
well, you did say bear the brunt, so I suppose it makes sense. I was going to talk a little bit about how Sophie in whole 5v5 fights may end up using that defensively within the Cataclysm to lock Jarvan down if jumps through onto Tristana, but obviously the most active use of Leona's solar flare is the ones we've just seen, but look at the damage coming out.
Man, Toxic is really landing these Shurima shuffles. Getting the sweep back onto the Gargoyle Man, just had no options there in order to get out, and that is 2 dead, both solo lanes in quick succession here on the side of China, and Veki, almost with that Infinity Edge completed for that 2 item, does mean that these towers are not going to be long for the world. And speaking of which, Malaysia are going to be working on this bottom inner at the same time. They really do have an objective focus. It's certainly working out for them, now moving up to a 4,000 gold lead. And China just couldn't do anything with their lead, and Malaysia was just like, hold my beer, I'll show you exactly what you're supposed to do when you get any sort of advantage.
It's been really slick.
Oh man, look at that. The Stand United coming in aggressively there as well. Exhaust or no exhaust, Inra not going to be able to offer too much back now as Suzuki teleports his way forward, but now we've just got the body blocking Shen. Moves his way over, he's pretty tanky. lovelin going to make his way forward. Heroic entrance, Sophie should fall down here as there's a knock up just on the edge onto Dolan, but is he going to be all right? Nope. As Inra is able to lock that one down with the Mystic Shot. Good answer here as Prochi's just like, objective focus, guys.
Yeah, he's going to get that tower. Now, a lot of that all stems from the fact that the Malaysian squad...
lovelin cannot do anything here.
No, he's dead. That's the damage.
Taunt comes down onto Veki. He does still have flash and heal available. Another one! The double hit. I mean, one of them is a bear, but still. Emperor's Divide really doing work here for Toxic. Seems to be unable to miss that particular ability as Prochi takes a casual turret shot. Doesn't seem too worried about it. Veki does the same thing. Now they're looking to try and get some damage onto Wookie. Okay, Veki, come on, man. You got to stay in there, get those autos down. They're all melee champions. What's a winner's bike going to grab you? No, I don't think so. Inra says, I'm going to take matters into my own hands, and grabs themselves their first turret of the game for China.
This has just become a very quick-paced game for Malaysia, though. The way they made the play on topside was basically under a full health tower. That not exactly the best decision-making at first, but they actually end up getting quite a lot back from that mid lane exchange, once again, thanks to Toxic. He's been so good on this Azir.
Right, he has.
Like, actually really impressive on the Azir. It's not that he's caught it once, it's been 3 times that we have seen multi-person Emperor's Divides. It's very rare to see that within the same game. But it's been
I was a little bit worried
Veki
at the beginning as well of Toxic because Su was really taking control of that lane.
Yeah, and in the last game as well, as you said, Su on Corki was flame horizing Toxic. I was wondering, like, oh, maybe Toxic is like a weak link on the team. Maybe that's the lane to go towards for lovelin, but
just seems
this
like
is a much better game.
agriculturally he's not necessarily there. His farming work, not quite able to stand up to it, but his team fights have been amazing.
More of a livestock keeper.
Yeah, maybe something like that. Good, you know, fitting him into maybe a Harvest Moon type category. There's the Taunt Flash, followed up by all of the CC. The peak potential of this composition on full display for Malaysia. And could this be just the 1-2 punch? Grab a pick, go to Baron, take that one down. Man, it feels like they certainly have been reading up on the textbook of League of Legends.
Yeah, well, they've pinged it. They're trying to sweep everything out. Of course, Veki pushing down the top tower at the same time, just getting a little bit of that utility from Tristana when it comes to map play coming through. You use that satchel charge and you can get the tower down very quickly. And it just meant that the Chinese squad had to push out mid, say, well, we can't contest any kind of Baron play. And now it's all vision control in favor of Malaysia. And lovelin, you're on a ward. Oh, he had the Dusk Blade. He thought it was fine. But
come on, Malaysia. You were so coordinated until that particular blast cone.
It was on cooldown, the Dusk Blade. He thought he was safe. And now it's the Baron. There's no smite on the Chinese side of things.
I mean, I was right in the end. It was just took an extra pick in order to get it. And
okay, two-shot
more
barrage. Here
of
it
a safe
comes.
one.
Nope.
Yeah, not going to be enough. That smite plus the fact that that is an isolated Baron is going to be enough. Plus Wookie is going to fall down. Heroic entrance feels real bad for the Galio. Suzuki's trying to get some AoE damage in there. It is going to be Sophie falling down, but Su very quick to follow. Veki follows with the rocket jump, actually flashes forward to pick up a massive crit. That's going to take them down. Only lovelin is now alive, but he's coming back from the death chamber from earlier. Now a Baron-buffed row of minions are conga lining towards the base of China. This is looking like a 2-0 for Malaysia for our last match of the day.
Yeah.
And this is a big surprise.
lovelin cannot do enough here. Even if he jumps in with Cataclysm, he needs the rest of his team. He's actually just on Raptors right now, biding his time until Malaysia cross back through the jungle. He's going to get caught now. Somebody actually just back-pinged lovelin. The captain getting a little bit of...
oh dear. He did probably have enough damage there to try and take down Veki, but then Veki just had way too many friends.
I think it's a bit of a mutiny on this one. There's a back ping. lovelin has kind of had his own plan.
Man, I got this.
The rest of the team's like, nope, he's dead. We should just leave him out there.
Yep. It's just been oppressive from Malaysia. The way that they rallied after losing out. I mean, we had Taiwan yesterday. It looked like, you know, they win first game, they're feeling like they're on a high, and then things start going wrong and Thailand just roll over the top. Feels like the power of friendship certainly has been pretty powerful here at Join the Republic so far.
Well, one of them on Malaysia must be Taya Gardner from Yu-Gi-Oh! Because they've drawn that smiley face on their hands.
Yeah.
Power of friendship means they're always going to pull the right card, and right now that card has been Veki's
is this something to do with the heart of the cards? Sorry,
exactly.
I'm not very good.
Exactly.
The old Yu-Gi-Oh! Is
No?
taking a lot of damage. There's the flash forward. Toxic, unfortunately, just going to short that one a little bit. Sophie comes in. That's a solar flare. That's going to be missed by the arcane shift, but can you catch up is the question. Yes. Damn right you can.
Legendary.
That's mobility. That's a pretty good option as far as being Leona is concerned. And I feel like at this point in time, my happiness about the Trinity Force is waning.
Probably the saving grace is what I would say. Oh,
sure about that. Veki, legendary once again.
Yeah.
10-0 and 9. This guy's doing pretty well.
This is what happens when you get a Tristana that has multiple kills. Here comes the Emperor's
in goes
Divide.
Toxic, picks one off.
Okay.
Su is in a place that he doesn't want to be, and that Justice Punch was denied by the wall of Sand Soldiers about 50 different times. That was real bad. Toxic is going to bite the bullet, but that is going to be an ace as everyone gets absolutely melted on the Chinese squad. These Nexus turrets, not long for the world, as Inra turns back up and says, what happened to my team? Oh god, all of their screens went grey. Now at least I'm matching. As Wiki's going to have to come in and try to do what they can, but it's not going to be enough. The second Nexus of this series is going to go down, meaning that our semifinals have been decided with the addition of Malaysia.
I think it's fair to call it an upset when you look at what everybody expected from today's games. Everybody expected South Korea and China to just breeze past, but Malaysia, with not only strong individual performances, but great teamwork on top of it, have actually shown perhaps to be one of the very strongest teams in this competition. I would say they look the most put together out of any of the teams we've seen.
And they certainly looked like they were taking it the most seriously. I think North America is probably the only other team that looked like they had put in a lot of the practice as far as strategy and textbook play is concerned. So if they are going to be going up against North America tomorrow, I'm not actually sure how the bracket shakes up as far as who's going to be facing who in those semi-finals, but we will find out very, very soon. If they are against North America, that will be a really exciting strategic matchup.
So I think it's going to be South Korea up against now Malaysia, because we were talking earlier about how it's going to be China. No, that kind of means MakNooN might need to not play the Soraka.
Something that's a relevant top laner.
Might need to play a little tank instead. I believe we'll probably end up hearing from him at some point before not too long, but that is going to be a very interesting matchup if it is indeed our draw here.
Yeah.
For the tomorrow's games.
Yeah, I certainly am excited for it personally, because Malaysia, they already sort of got my heart already, because Veki's just so adorable when he's on the desk, things like that. You know, this guy has such a positive attitude when it comes to League of Legends, but the way that he's cultivated his team around him as well, and, you know, hard carried in both of these games at the same time, especially towards the end. But it's all about moving his team around him, getting a bunch of people that he trusts to get behind him as well, because they were so well coordinated. Shout out to Sophie as well, who was really keeping up with him in that lane. And the Leona play was fantastic, showing that, you know, she can play going forward and going back as well with the play in game number 1 was really, really nice. Just a well cohesively put together squad. What did you guys think on the desk though? Do you feel like it was one of those performances from Malaysia? Were you expecting the Chinese victory to come out in this particular game?
I think you can just sit up there and just keep complimenting Ozora Veki. Like, if you got any more, just feel free to fire them off, right?
Go for it.
I got plenty. Do you want me to?
Yeah, give me 2-3 more of
if you
those.
feel like it. No. I'll leave it to you guys. You guys can have it.
He ran out. He was lying.
He did. It was a good fit. You know, we have a lot of great stuff to say about Ozora Veki here. We've had him on the desk. He's been so impressive. Henning, I know you were shouting his name out in those team fights.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, not only is his team doing great, it's also like 10-0 on Tristana, just jumping into the enemy team. What usually happens when there's an Annie running at you as an AD carrier, that's like, oh, I don't want any of this. Ozora Veki just jumps into his face on Annie. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna 1v1 you. What up?
It was an impressive play. I mean, you have to play now against Malaysia tomorrow.
Yeah.
Are you a little bit afraid?
Yeah, because to be honest, I thought China gonna win today match, but Malaysia win so easy.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
is it okay to call it easy?
Yeah, 2-0. So I don't know what am I supposed to do because we had a lot of tactics against China, not Malaysia.
So Malaysia could be a fully upsetting team here, potentially taking out South Korea as well?
They're really good. And Malaysia jungler is really good. He's really good.
Well, we saw some incredible stuff right down to the champion select. Tell me what you saw in the second game that you liked out of the champion selection.
I think that China picked a strong early game comp, and with what happened at level 1, they had a good, strong invade. Level 1 got their first kill on towards lovelin, so he was running away with the game early. But what happened after that is that China just could not keep up in the team fights, and with these big damage dealers like the Azir that goes for the huge play here. So Azir, Tristana, 2 of the biggest damage dealers in the game, can do a bunch of damage from long range as well. That really ended up working for Malaysia, and I think this full damage Jarvan build just came back to hurt lovelin, because yes, it's good if you can keep snowballing, but if not, like full damage Jarvan just doesn't work. What do you think, MakNooN?
I think I can't say top N is good. And honestly, in Korea solo ranked, in Korean Scream, you know Scream?
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't play Galio mid anymore because he gets so nerfed.
Yeah.
So I think their champion comp is not successful, I guess.
Well, we have a successful champion over here. We've got Ozora Veki joining us now, who had 2 incredible games against China. How you feeling, man?
Hello, everyone. I'm feeling pretty good because actually we don't have a lot of expectation going against China because China is obviously a very strong region, but we managed to pull out a 2-0. Super happy.
You guys are super happy. You guys, you talked about the importance of teamwork, about communication early on versus China, and when putting your team together. Were those the factors that led you to victory here?
Yeah, definitely, because everyone is very willing to listen to me, and then even though in-game calls are sort of messy, because we have practice but not that much, so I think by how much they trust in me really led us to victory, yeah.
Yeah, we saw some great moments in team fights that there must be trust present, because we saw a lot of big gambles that your team supported you on, and that paid off phenomenally for you guys. Anything stand out to you guys as far as team fights or maybe high tension moments?
I think that you were able to pull off the comp really well, but I've got to ask you, like, were you worried early on in game number 2, because you were up against this like strong pushing lanes, strong Jarvan early game that really popped off, like 2-0-1 on Jarvan early. Were you worried at all?
Actually, I'm not worried at all, because the comp we have is much better than them. We just have to slow down since our champion takes some time to skill, Azir takes some time to skill, Tristana takes some time to skill. So as long as we are not constantly inting, I think we will be good in the later on of our game. Yeah.
Sounds good, and you did not constantly end.
Yeah. Hey, in fact, I didn't die.
You didn't die at all. It was phenomenal. And in fact, right here we have our second match of the day tomorrow. It's going to be South Korean MakNoon's team versus Malaysia and your team. So, MakNoon, anything that you want to ask Ozora Veki for tomorrow?
This time is good to give up.
Good to give up.
Yeah, give it up now.
Yeah, do you think you'll be making such creative hero picks tomorrow?
Yes.
Oh.
But secret.
And based on South Korea's matches earlier today, are you feeling confident against them?
Malaysian players' only weakness is we don't know how to give up.
Oh, nice.
Well, gentlemen, you both had impressive days. Ozora Veki, it's been a pleasure having you up here on the desk. I'm going to be sad to let you go and continue to play tomorrow, but is there anything you want to say to all the fans who've enjoyed your commentary and now enjoyed your games?
Thanks for everyone putting up with me, because my English is my second language, so obviously there are a lot of stutter. So thanks for everyone that's watching and supporting me, I guess. Yeah.
You've done a fantastic job. Thank you, Ozora Veki. Thank you, MakNooN, for coming up and hanging out on the analysis couch. And Henning, I could never, ever do this without you.
You probably could. Would be more handsome, but less in-depth, nerdy analysis.
Yeah, well, as handsome as I am, I don't know half the things you know about League of Legends. So you're all indispensable to the success of this broadcast, as well as our wonderful casters, Stress and Atlas. We've had a full day here today. That is the end of our group stage. We are now moving on to semifinals tomorrow, so we will see very exciting matches from the start. And I'll join you then. Until then, enjoy the Counter-Strike later on today, and join the Republic.